Queen Carvania stood haloed by the morning sun. An army hung on her every word.
My champions, I have sold my chariot on Carvana. 'Twas a lovely SUV, an inexplicably queenly offer. They're even coming to the castle to collect it. Tonight, we feast! An offer you can feast on. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
What's more exciting than two NFL division rivals going head-to-head in Australia? It's knowing you can watch it live on Netflix. Netflix is expanding its NFL coverage this season and beyond. In addition to the Rams and the Niners kicking off Week 1, be sure to catch the first ever Thanksgiving Eve matchup and 2 Christmas Day games on Netflix. Watch Week 1 of the NFL on Netflix. The Los Angeles Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers, live on Netflix Thursday, September 10th at 8:35 p.m. Eastern, 5:35 p.m. Pacific.
Do you know what day it is?
It's Monday!
Oh, no, not Monday.
Wake up, Mr. Sleepy Pants.
Why not Monday?
Paging Dr. Sleeping Bird.
Mondays suck.
Hello, good morning.
Do not approach me when I'm sleeping.
Ugh, Mondays.
Why are you so grumpy?
Oh, I'm fine. I just need some coffee.
Can someone please just start talking?
You got it. Showtime.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Our last weekend without college football for a long time. We did have some high school football, really compelling games there. Great week, too. Well, obviously, we had the other stuff going on. We had the PGA Tour. Great week for Wyndham Clark. He wins the BMW by 3 shots over Cantlay and over 4 over McIlroy. Terrible weekend for the Raiders. Ashton Janty diving for a pass in practice and does something to his knee, leaves the field, getting aided off. Can't put any weight on it. Terrible. But that's the kind of news we get at camp this time of year. Not a good weekend for Real Salt Lake. Once again, they have a lead. Once again, they can't hold it. They lose 2-1 in Orlando. For more on what happened, well, let's get to Pablo Mastroeni and his post-game thoughts.
It was awesome. I'm so proud of these guys, man. Guys that haven't been getting a rep. Guys like Kobe, guys like Mason, guys like Luka Moisa, guys like Aiden, who's coming back, Lenny. These guys made Dom. Super proud. And, we got beat by a guy that they just acquired and, found the back of the net twice. Really fortuitous, but I thought we defended well. I thought tonight we played like a team. And that's why we do this. Those guys, Pablo was cramping at the end, Kobe was cramping at the end, but they stuck in there. And for me, there's a lot of positives to take from this game.
You mentioned they got fortunate, especially on that second goal, but sometimes you make your own luck. They spent a lot of time in the attacking third. I mean, a lot of time. You weren't winning many balls at the midfield. They clear it long, and it seemed like Orlando was winning 80% or 90% of them. Mm-hmm. What was going on there, and why did that happen? Because that seemed to lead to the goal. Yeah,
again, I think it's fatigue. I think these conditions are tough. We knew that we're going to be spread thin with 5 subs, given the amount of changes that we were going to make. But we're really thin at the moment, and that's that. I think that's the balance to strike. So, I think there's if we show a video of what could have been done better, the guys will say, yeah, that's what I'm meant to be doing. But when you take the conditions, maybe the lack of reps in the game, it's not going to turn out the same. And then having said that, we had a couple really good chances as well. So when teams are defending that high up the field, you're going to get your breaks. And I think we could have done, again, better on a couple chances to tie the game or go up a goal. But again, they finished theirs, and we missed some really good opportunities in front of goal. So that's how razor thin the margins are. And so that's why I could just go back to the performance. It was a gutsy performance from a lot of players tonight, stepping up and playing extremely well. And obviously they made a few changes at halftime. And I think their subs made the difference.
Dom seemed like every time he touched the ball, it was a square ball or a negative pass for half an hour. And then he scores the goal, and it seemed like the next 10 times he touched the ball, he was shooting or trying to take someone on and beat him. Was that just an example of one goal changing a guy's mentality?
I think so. I think Dom, and again, it was a part of our game plan with these guys. Like most teams in this type of condition, where they'll have energy to attack, not a whole lot of energy to defend. And so, at times, I think we forced the issue and went forward when maybe we could, rotate them a few times. Because again, possession in our final third without chances on goal or without being a threat is essentially controlling the game defensively, is the way I look at it. And then when you suck them in, if you can connect one or two passes, you're gonna create some great breaks, and then it's decision making in those transition moments. But I think Dom kind of grew into the game. Found the right moments to keep square, go back. We wanted to rotate them, with their narrow shape. Did a good job of that, and then obviously sprung, forward quite a few times and was dangerous. So I think, he had a really good performance.
Who decided Captain Katranis and why?
Well, we do a Kobo belt after every practice, a guy that exemplifies the type of character, mentality that we expect everyone to train at. And obviously when you train with that type of mentality, you're also performing well. So, whoever's the best performer in the day, it has the right mentality. And Katranis has won that belt Wednesday night after the game, Thursday in training. It was really bright. So again, if we're going to do this, then it's got to be validated by performance and training and who we think has the right mentality to lead the group. And I thought tonight he had a really, really good game.
That ball Junqua got the assist on. Is that the kind of bravery you're talking about when you're talking about your back three attacking, making themselves be dangerous?
Yeah, that was a good example. Again, I thought the back line played extremely well, given the conditions. And Sam on that one play, picking out the back post, you can see he was already scanning when he hit the ball. Puts a great ball, and Dom's in a great position. And against back fours, we always know we're going to have a wing back free on the weak side. So it was a fantastic, again, executing a great play, great ball, great finish.
Last one for me, the confidence in Lineker, since he was on yellow and since you were bringing on three attackers, I was sure he was going out, but he's the one you left in. You subbed everybody else. Did you think about taking him out, or what did you see that made you want to leave him in?
No, we just couldn't afford. Aiden had made. We didn't know he was going to go more than 45. That was a pre-planned sub. We knew that Morgan was going to come in for Vic at some point, and so we needed one of the front three to go the distance. And so the yellow card was low on the list. I think he again, a young player cutting his teeth. I think he's doing a really, really good job. He really is, and the fact that he can last 90 minutes is something really important for our attacking group. Because the guys put it all out there, very few of them can go the distance. But tonight I thought he was excellent.
Thanks, Pablo.
Yep.
A lot of offsides tonight. Was that something that Orlando was doing, or is that just a consequence of guys who haven't played together very much, all trying to get vertical at the same time?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. They're holding the line if we time a couple of those well. I think it's a great goal scoring opportunities. I think the important thing is that the guys are looking forward, and now it's about the timing of the runs, as you rightly pointed out. I said the same thing on the bench in the particular the first half, where it was unnecessary. Again, oftentimes you see the defenders, you can look across the line, and so I think it's a little bit of sharpness from that perspective. But I agree with you. There's too many offsides tonight.
And there was so much rotation, but if we could just shine a light on Kobe Henry, this is a player we've had for a while. I've been waiting a chance to see him with the first team. What did you make of his performance?
I thought he was excellent. I thought he was an excellent. I thought he, and again, I pointed him out to the group and what a teammate looks like. I asked him, when's the last time he started for this group? And he said, beginning of last year, right? And he stays there, works. And tonight, I thought in possession, out of possession, late in the game, getting in the box, the opportunity I think he had with a couple minutes left. I think that was Kobe anyway.
Yeah, it was.
So like, his contribution, I thought defensively he was really good. It's difficult when you have almost a winger type player on your side, but that just means that his communication with Dom and Saba was really good. I thought his interventions were really good. I thought his poise out of the playing out was really good, and so I'm so happy for the young man. In the 75th minute, he was cramping, and he was thinking about coming out, and I said, you have 15% more than you think, bud. You can hang in there, and so super proud of not only his performance but his mentality. And again, like looking at this game, and like I told the guys, like if this game doesn't make you aware that you have teammates that can compete at the same level as you, right? And that if we're going to be successful, we're going to do this as a team. We're in a tough spot at the moment, but performances like Kobe Henry, like Luka Moisa, like Aiden Herzakani, like those are team performances. Those are the guys that haven't been getting a lot of reps, but step in there and do a great job. So again, just super proud of those guys in particular. Again, not an easy place to come play. They're a handful defensively. And the way they conducted themselves, I couldn't be more proud.
There's Pablo Mastroeni after RSL loses, and they are now winless in their last 7 games. They need Justin Glad to get healthy. They need a replacement for Xavier Gozo. That's for starters. Maybe they need a third or fourth guy. And I don't think Glad's coming back anytime soon. I think he's still out for a while. Emeka Nelly could be working out in a couple weeks, so that'd be a positive. He gets back to training here pretty quickly. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Steve Bartle talking Utes. Stay with us. We're joined right now by Steve Bartle. Steve, good morning.
Morning, DJ. How we doing, man?
We're doing well. I got a couple questions for you here, a little positivity, a little negativity. Where would you like to start? A little lift up, a little positivity, a little negativity, a little truth-telling. What do you think?
I'll let you tell me where to go.
We're going to start with a positivity, an affirmation in the morning. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Of what you know, and I know very limited access to the team at this point, of what you know, the position group that you believe should give Ute fans most help, that will bring them to their feet and have Rice-Eccles Stadium rocking, that position group is?
Wide receiver. Based on what we've seen, based on what we've heard, I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic, confident, excited if you're a Utah fan to see this group in action. I think there's a lot behind what Utah has, and Braden Pagan, who comes to Utah from Utah State, that familiarity with McGiven and the offense, I think, is just going to do a lot for him. And the chemistry that has seemingly developed with Devin Dampier, by all accounts, sounds like it's at a really good place. So I think Utah has the sort of go-to receiver in Pagan that can produce week in, week out. And then, as we've learned throughout the offseason, this is a group that has some depth. There have been some surprising guys that have developed and progressed this offseason. One in particular is Nate Johnson, who's been around the program now a few years. He's really kind of settled in to this wide receiver role, and he's helped kind of solidify the depth, give Utah another option in that room. So Utah is coming into this season feeling like they probably have 4 or 5 really solid receivers, and then the depth behind them where you can sprinkle in and have guys available for you to step up at different points throughout the season as well.
Alex is going to have to host the rest of the show because I just blacked out twice. I didn't hear most of your answer. The first time you said the strongest position was wide receiver, and I just went straight. I just faded to black. I didn't hear anything. And when I came to, you just said they're 4 or 5 deep at wide receiver, and I passed out again. That was an unexpected answer. I hope Ute fans handled that on the freeway better than I did, because that could be a dangerous situation. Wide receiver, the best. So you're grading on a curve in part because that's been, well, let's be honest, that's usually been the position group that's been least likely to bring the stadium to its feet.
Yeah, it's interesting with what Utah still has in place. at running back and at quarterback with Devin Dampier and Bird Kirkland and Rayshawn Parker, in that running back room. I think the group that is just going to get this Utah fan base really excited is, like I said, the depth and ability in that wide receiver room. They have some guys that I think can really, I don't want to say shine, but I think this offense is going to shine a brighter light on that wide receiver room, some of the ability that they have in that group and the depth that they have in that group as well.
Well, you are echoing what Ron McBride said yesterday. He said he thought the key to that group, and he was right with you, he thought that there was unprecedented depth there, and he thought the key was bringing a new OC and bringing a position coach in, and they come from other schools. In the case of McGibbon, he brought in players from his two previous schools, both San Jose State and Utah State, and he said they're known. There's relationships there. It's proven over time. They've practiced with these guys day in and day out and multiple games, and they know what they can do. There's no guessing. There's no suspecting. So, all right, I'm going to have to adjust and quit blacking out here. You and Mac are on the same page. I'm hearing the same stuff 2 days in a row. Perhaps I should trust two sources, right, Steve?
Perhaps you should, DJ. Perhaps you should.
All right. Let's go to the other side of the same coin. If I want to know the position group that's most likely to bring the place to its feet, now I want to know the position group that's most likely to have Ute fans putting their head in their hands. No, I paid to watch this. What happened? Where's that most likely?
I think this entire offseason, the biggest question that I got, the most consistent question that I got was centered around the defensive tackle room, the defensive line, and stopping the run.
Yep.
And, Utah went into the transfer portal. They brought in 3 defensive tackles from the portal. 2 of them have a good quality playing experience coming from Wyoming and San Jose State. Another one from Tennessee who played at times throughout his career there. But a lot of the expectations, I think, for just what the standard is with that room and that group in particular, there's some uneasiness still around that group. And based on what we've been able to kind of take away from our viewing sessions, we just haven't been able to come away with a lot to provide any sort of valuable progress report on that group. And so, it's going into the season kind of blind and kind of uncertain. There's, and coaches and players have talked about that group has stepped up. And, there's some pieces in that room, some players in that room that garner a lot of optimism and confidence in their long-term projection, optimism around what they can be this season. But it's still going to require them to step up into roles and into playing at a certain level on a week-in, week-out basis that we just don't know where that's at with that group. So I think that is, like you said, if there's a group that could potentially bring this fan base to their knees at times, given how things went at the end of the season last year, I think that that defensive line group, specifically when we're talking about stopping the run, I think that's the big question mark and concern for Utah fans going into the season.
Of all the answers you've ever given me, Steve, I rate that the number one answer. All our conversations on the air and off the air. You hit so many key points that I want to underline and put exclamation points after. And I think you're very smart. And I've always said this. And, Alex, I'm going to say this to you now that you're producing our show a million times. Whenever you meet somebody and then they talk and then someone looks at you and they go, that person's really smart, what they mean is they agree with me. I think so-and-so is really smart. That means whatever you were talking about, doesn't matter if it's football or banking, politics, I don't know, whatever. When they say, the person walks away, that person's really smart. That means you agree with me. That's all that means. It doesn't mean anything about IQ. And I agree with what you said. And I thought you had a key phrase. What the standard has been. Everybody's here spoiled. Everybody here is spoiled. You need 2 D tackles, you need 2 D ends, except you don't because it's an exhausting position to play. You're getting hit and beat up on by 300-pounders, and you're sprinting all the way to the sideline. You're trying to sprint upfield 10 yards. You got to turn and sprint back 15, 20 yards the other way. It's exhausting, so you have to have a third player and be able to rotate. And you get hit so much, there are going to be injuries, so you have to have a fourth player at both positions, or the coaches are privately going in the room like, what are we going to do? Because they're anticipating going 8 deep. And we all stood in front of Kyle Whittingham multiple years, and he said, we're 9 deep, we're 10 deep. One year he said, we're 12. I got 12 guys I can trust on the D-line. And that is unheard of. That is not normal. Coaching staffs all across the country are just biting their fingernails thinking, who's guy 6, 7, 8, and who's guy 9, 10, just in case we really have a bad run of luck. And you don't usually know. And it is usually a massive question mark when you get deep into D-lines. And it stresses coaches out big time. And the standard here is so high. It's like, of all the things Kyle Whittingham did well, that's one of the best. The D-line was nails. Rock solid year after year. Guys coming and going didn't matter. So, brilliant answer, Steve. Spot on. I mean, the wide receiver thing shocked me. I'm not going to kid you. But the D-line thing, that was straight money right there. That was brilliant.
I appreciate that, DJ. And look, like, to your point, you know, you do need to have depth at the position, unlike you've had before. Mm-hmm. And what's making that difficult is everybody wants depth, and everybody is willing to pay a price to have that depth. And for Utah this year, they went in, like I said, they went into the portal. They brought in 3 guys that they feel pretty optimistic about, that they felt, you know, coming to Utah could benefit from the development plan here, especially with Steve Saunders and this new, you know, strength and conditioning program and how it sort of changed these guys physically. I think they're obviously counting on this young group and these transfers to come into the season. And, you know, maybe they aren't playing at a really high level week 1. Right. But this is a group that with experience, I think, can progress, you know, week after week, month after month, and that sort of thing, where by the end of the season, it's a much different, much improved group. And you're going into next off season feeling good about this group. But as of right now, the concern is just, where's this group right now? What is it going to look like week 1, week 2, when Arkansas comes to Rice-Eccles? That's the big concern right now.
It's a normal amount of stress. I think a lot of coaching staffs have this. Utah's just been immune to it for a long time. But I think there's a lot of teams wondering, and a lot of teams, it'll be answered positively. They'll get to that depth, and guys will perform at a pretty good level, and it'll work out. But there's a lot of question marks at a lot of schools across the country. I just think that's normal at this point. And Utah's just back in a normal situation. They haven't, and it's a little uncomfortable because they've been in such a comfortable situation for so long because they've been beating the odds with their ability to recruit and develop. Yeah. I am also curious. Let's go to the other position groups. As we get a couple weeks into this, is there anybody emerging, a name people should remember at another position group? Like, whoa, watch out for this guy.
Yeah, a player that I've, you know, in talking with him, I've had the opportunity to chat with him twice, and he's a transfer addition Utah brought in. That they actually recruited him originally out of high school a few years back. He ended up signing with Kentucky and then transferring to Akron. Cornerback Elijah Reed, I think is somebody that coming into this defensive secondary, Utah had the majority of this group pretty settled, right? With Jackson Benny, Nate Ritchie, Rabbit Evans, those guys in that safety room making that group. Scooby Davis at one outside corner spot, and then, you know, they had another guy in Rock Caldwell who they had penciled in that nickel spot. It was that other outside cornerback spot that was wide open. And so it was Elijah Reed, James Chenault, J.C. Hart really battling it out for that group. And, you know, from what we've heard, we had the opportunity to speak with Reed, you know, as a media group. You know, he was really impressive. And I think he's the type that has the size at 6'2", 6'3". He's got long arms. He's in that mold of, you know, the long corners that Utah's had in the past, the Keith McGills, the Sean Smith, you know, those types of corners that really play that sticky press man coverage, but have that athleticism to still be to still protect themselves vertically. And I think that is something that, as I've done more and more homework on these players, I feel like Reed is perfectly suited to step into that exact role. And so I think Reed is someone that, you know, he's off the radar a little bit, but I think he is absolutely someone that will I don't know if he's locked in the starting role right now. I don't know. I can't say for certain, but I think he's going to be a pretty big contributor for Utah this season at that cornerback spot.
Last thing before I let you go. Fred Whittingham getting sued by the university. Reading through some of the stories, I came up with to the conclusion there's a lot of stuff in there, but I think a lot of it is noise. I think the crux of the issue is that the university feels like they're owed about $400,000 due to the terms of, essentially the buyout for him to leave his deal with 13 months left on it. I don't know Fred's side of the story, and people don't tend to comment when there's pending litigation, so I don't know that we're going to hear his side of the story. But I thought that was the crux of it from what I read. And when either he cuts the check or Michigan booster, whatever, however that's handled, then it goes away. It did make the point in the story that with the other assistants who moved, that's already been handled. So I don't know if Fred thinks there's something different, if there's some language in his contract or whatever. What's your understanding of that, where it stands, and how you think it's going to play out?
Yeah, that is my understanding of it all. I don't have a good sense of how it's going to play out, but as you pointed out, all of the other assistant coaches, went through that process and went the right way. They went.
Well, a lawyer somewhere had his phone cut off. He was about to cross the line. Maybe it was a judge. Just knocked him out right there. And that's it. We've heard enough of Bartle. I think we see where he was going with that. All right, there's Steve Bartle talking about the Utes. When we come back, we'll hear from Kalani, Sitake, wide receiver Reggie, Frischknecht, and defensive lineman Justin Kirkland. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to go to Provo and hear from the Cougars. Let's start with head coach Kalani Sitake.
Well, good practice. We've had some good live stuff, this week, and get scrimmage tomorrow. So we're 2 weeks out from the game, and really excited about where we're at right now. I've had a really good 2-minute situation with the team at the end of practice, and I love the way the guys are working. And so it's going to be a lot of fun and playing some real football now, and seeing the guys learn and develop in the last couple weeks has been awesome, and really excited where this is headed, and we just got to take advantage of all the time that we have. What questions do you have for me?
Ronnie, what was the deal with the bright blue helmets? Those are the game helmets, right?
Yeah, I think because we've been wearing the white helmets most camp, and so we got to break in the helmets, and I think it's just so they didn't want to have it the first time that they're wearing the helmet is be in the game, and so I don't know. These guys are all spoiled. They have so many different helmets and shoes and all that stuff. So when I played, it was one helmet. That was it. And so, so I think they have to just break them in a little bit and go with it. But it looks nice. I like the way the look of them. And I'm not sure what the uniform. Do we know what that is yet? Brett, do you know what it is?
I think it's royal top and white pants.
Okay, royal top and white pants. So I'm good with it. I like those colors.
When you brought in DeMario, he was originally going to do corners, and then you moved into safeties, I think, if I'm right. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, I think just looking at the candidates that we had for safeties and corners, we knew that DeMario could coach either one. And so, and he's had, he has head coaching experience with his time in Southern Utah. He has coordinator experience, and so really like the way that he works. And he's also best friends with General Guilford, so they're very similar in their teaching style. And we just knew that there could be some flexibility with him there, and the opportunity to get Lewis Walker and Demo was really important, and I think they're going to be really good for us this year.
Will tomorrow be your last full live stadium look like you planned halfway through?
Yeah, with a lot of the guys, we probably already passed that. We did some live stuff this week, and I don't know if we need some of the guys to be live, but there's others that need to feel like what it's like to be tackled and break tackles, and so we'll get a look at all those guys. And then there's certain things that we need to do as a team to get these guys to be a little bit more physical. But the majority of the guys are all ready to go. We just got to keep them. I mean, you develop these calluses and you get your body ready with the sparring that we do. So we I think most of the guys are ready, but there's some others that are a little bit soft skin, need a little beaten up. So we'll get that done tomorrow, and then we'll be ready for the season when we get to 2 weeks away.
Yeah, once you get to next Saturday, then you're into ramp-up mode in a typical game build-up at that point.
And then we focus more on our opponents too. Midway, so a week and a half out, we're going to be focusing on Utah Tech. And right now, we're trying to get all our stuff in and figure out what's the best game plan, the strategy for week one. And so we'll just. It was a lot of work. The coaches did a great job, and we're almost there. But we'll need tomorrow, and we'll need the first 2 days next week to get ready.
When does fall camp officially close?
I think officially maybe middle of next week. And so, I thought the camp, I mean, the guys were way more ready than ever before, and so things were a lot easier. You could tell these guys spent a lot of time being football junkies and studying the game and studying. I mean, they did a lot of player-run meetings and player-run practices where they actually got together and took the initiative themselves to get their team ready. So a lot of the teaching, it was already done before we even got to camp, and I'm really pleased with the way they responded to it. And now we're just focusing on the technique and all the little details that can get us there.
Back in spring, Kelly Pinga noted that maybe an area that was of focus going into fall was the depth at cornerback. How do you feel about that? Guys emerging, we saw like Kevin Doe in some coverage today.
Mm-hmm.
Just how do you feel about the depth at cornerback after Shmev and Trey?
Yeah, and that's why we brought Jay Will here, so having him and seeing the development of K-Doe and seeing the development of Jordan Chris and Matthias Leach, those guys are coming along really nicely, and so we feel good about the depth there. Had Cannon DeVries playing some nickel for us too, and used Tommy there, so we've had a bunch of different versatile looks with the defense, and so I feel like we're in a really good spot. And there's a lot of corners that can play and a lot of DBs that can play. We have safeties that can play corner, so there's a lot of cross-training between the two positions. That's why it's important to have a lot of great communication between Demo and Coach Walker.
The linebacker position, there's so much talk about how talented that group, how deep does it go, like number-wise, that you feel confident can play in a game?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys there that can play. I mean, we're going to be able to use as many of those guys as we can, and looking at different packages to help get them all on the field at the same time. But it's one of the deepest linebacking crews I've ever been around, and a lot of talent there too. So, and that's with Glasgow and Cade leading the way, but the rest of the guys are right there. They can play. I like that group, and so K-Pop was wise to take the inside linebacking group and the outside linebackers to coach. So
there's BYU coach Kalani Sitake. Now here's defensive lineman Justin Kirkland, a senior.
It was really good. They had us out there working out every morning in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? So hanging out with the boys, getting sweaty, all that, eating right. So it was fun.
What last year you were intermittent in your playing time, right?
Yep.
Why was that, and how are you taking on a bigger role this year?
Yeah, so when I first got here from Oklahoma State, it was like my first week working out and I tore my meniscus. So just kind of battling back through that one with that injury. And then that defensive line room already had some good veteran guys, JT, Keanu, and then our young guys really stepped up really well. So it just kind of made more sense for me to get back to 100% with my knee and stuff like that, and then come back for the senior year.
So what's the total weight loss? What's the number? How much did you shed?
So last year I was weighing about 345, and this year I'm at 305. So yeah, it's been. Yeah, tell you what, shout out to my wife. She's been making chicken, avocado, really healthy stuff the whole time. Quit going to get ice cream, I was on a no fun food diet, but it worked. So
was that the toughest thing, ice cream, cutting that out?
Yeah, I'm a big ice cream guy. I actually live out in Springville, so shout out Maggleby's for their chocolate cake. It's delicious, man. But yeah, that was after I had to really limit myself to maybe one cheat meal a week. And then, I've watched the pounds just fly off. Shout out to the strength conditioning team, too. They were, yelling at me the whole time, run harder, all that stuff, too. So it was a group effort, but, yeah, once I cut out the bad calories, it was pretty easy.
So what's it like playing at 40 less pounds?
Tell you what, I feel like I can run forever. So it's been a lot of fun. And just this defense in general, like Oklahoma State, we were a true three-down front, and so it was kind of not necessarily hold blockers, but it was hold blockers so the linebackers can make plays, where here it's like, dude, let loose and go have fun. So it's been just a lot more fun. Lower pad level, being able to run farther, just stuff like that. So plus all this offensive line might be the best offensive line in the country, and they're super athletic. So I was almost like a step behind when I was 340, and now we're all just on par with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Justin, speaking of the O-line, do you know what FTP stands for?
I tell you what, I've been with those guys for months, and I still have no idea. I just throw something out, make something up, you know. It could be like for the popcorn, like they're putting on a show, something. I have no idea, and they won't tell me. So while we're in the middle of the play, I'll like try to whisper in their ear and ask, but they're pretty secretive, those boys.
Do you have a favorite tactic you like to align in? 1, 3, 0? Where do you like to be?
I like to line up where I get the double team so everybody else can get the one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, and then when I do get the one-on-one, it's finesse moves only. So if you see a lot of spin moves, just know that's my forte.
No bull rush.
No, you know, you would think that. You would think that, but I'm more of a side scissors kind of guy. You know, hit him with the bear crawl move. You know, I just try to like throw things out there, see what happens. So.
All that yoga work in the
Exactly. Yes. If you see me out there just doing some like a backflip downward dog over someone, just know it was planned.
Justin, just dropping the weight, has it affected your ability to take on double teams, you feel like, at all?
I don't think so. It really luckily I was very blessed. I didn't lose any strength. So I just lost a lot of like the ice cream weight, and so it was really good. And then just the way his defense plays too, like our linebackers, Cade, Ciale, Glasker, Jake, those boys, they're just hitting the gap fast. And so our double teams, they last maybe 2 seconds max. So it's been like we worry about the double teams, but we don't worry about it because it's just like a hard bump and climb. And so as long as we can just stick that, it works out pretty good.
How do you feel like the defense reacted from the scrimmage on Saturday through this week? It seems like Kalani in the post-scrimmage was giving credit to all the running backs that had great days. How did the defensive line, the defensive front react to that?
I tell you what, we're a bunch of old guys, and so we all have been on teams where, you know, you get scored on. I've never seen a defense where they don't get scored on, and so having a team and a fall camp where the offense is really good and the defense is really good, it just kind of makes you look forward to the season, because if it was one-sided the whole time, it's like that makes you nervous what the season looks like. And so just having the guys rally the troops and not like we didn't lose composure or anything. Everybody kind of knew what we had to do, and then got everybody else on board and didn't let anybody panic or sink the boat. And I mean, we're flying around and making plays the same way. So it'll be good to get back in the stadium again tomorrow and give them a good run, you know.
Does it mean anything to you to open against your former school, Utah Tech?
Yeah, how about that, man? Isn't that funny? Yeah, so when we played when I was at Utah Tech 2022, we played BYU, so it's kind of funny to go full circle and play those boys. It'll be fun.
Who do you like to match up against on the offensive line? Who typically gives you some fits and gives you a great look to prepare you for Big 12 play?
The all Big 12 center, Bruce Mitchell. That dude, yeah, he is phenomenal. That dude is, you know, all of 6'4", 305 pounds. He plays with his pad levels, face mask on the ground half the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that dude is legit. Hard to bull rush, has a good frame, powerful. And then the problem with Bruce is he's always smiling too. And so even like he'll get me a couple plays, I'll get him a couple plays, and we sit right next to each other in the locker room. And it's just like, all right, dude, you want to go get some lunch? You know what I'm saying? So he is a dude who on the field, he wants to kill you, but off the field, I mean, you could call him at 2 a.m. and he'd answer. So.
Is that part of the Kalani culture where you guys compete out here, but you guys love and learning in the locker room?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it just goes to like, in the locker room, we're all split up, so you're not with your position group. And in the team room, we're all sitting next to each other and stuff like that. And so just being able to be friends with everybody, it's like it doesn't matter if Bruce is calling a DB or a DB is calling, you know, a wide receiver, like everybody's friends. And obviously football, we're all competitors and stuff like that. And BYU plays a very physical brand of football. But then off the lines, it's like, I want to see you succeed just as much as you want to see me succeed. And so I do think that is a culture thing, and I do think the coaches do promote the lead with love very well, but at the same time, like we did come here to play football, so it's a physical game.
You've been around the block
Last
a lot.
Question.
I was just going to say, so many of these guys you play on the defensive side of the ball were here last year. Cade's one of the guys that wasn't. So what did you see from Cade that's impressed you?
Hey, that dude is a dog, and I tell you what, he showed up and immediately like flowed in the system perfectly, and he showed up the right way. He didn't come in and try to. He wasn't like overbearing or anything like that or try to impose like his ways. He just kind of came in, rode the wave, and then obviously he's a phenomenal football player, phenomenal leader, and I'm super excited that he is a Cougar this year. So,
there's senior defensive lineman Justin Kirkland. Now, let's get to the Sophomore receiver, a transfer from Snow College, Reggie Frischknecht.
I'm feeling very confident. I feel like at the beginning, a lot of outside doubt, but Fessy just told us to stay confident in who we are, and so we come a long way. We're confident in ourselves and what we can do, so we're looking really good right now.
It feels like players that just want an opportunity. It seems like all of you guys have an opportunity to take whatever playing time is available. How exciting is that for you guys?
It's very exciting. A lot of young guys like Legend and Terrence and me and Tay. We've been here a year. It's very exciting for us to be able to be an opportunity where if we compete and we show up every day and work hard, that we can play a lot. It's very exciting because everyone dreams about playing here at BYU, being at LaVell Edwards Stadium, so I'm excited for it.
You obviously had seen what the offense was able to do last year. I know it's just camp, but how close is it, or are you guys, how much further ahead do you feel? Where is the offense, in your opinion, heading into this year?
I think we are looking very good this year. Spring ball just started us because we added some new players, obviously, so that started us, and then we got here at fall camp, and I feel like every day we're showing up, we're getting better, and our offense is looking really good. We're driving the ball really well, we're getting smarter with 2-minute, 4-minute drills, and overall I think we're ready, honestly.
Kalani talked about the fact that, coming into this camp, obviously they're still teaching and coaching, but you guys as players did so much of that on your own in the offseason that it's made their job easier. How much have you seen that help what the players, all you guys did during the offseason?
Yeah, I think the best thing is player-led, and I think I've seen a lot of that, especially in the receiver room with JoJo, being an upperclassman and pushing us every day, along with Bear, pushing the offense to be better, without necessarily the coach's help. So I think that was a big part of why we are being so successful right now.
How important was last year for you coming in here because you had this pretty incredible JUCO career over there in Snow, but just to be able to kind of come in and get used to the system, to the speed, to Division I football, that kind of thing. How big was last year for you?
I think it was very big for me. Coming from JUCO, which Snow's a good program, but nothing like a Power 5 school. Being able to get into the program, be here for a year, figure out the defense, figure out how to read defenses, figure out the offense and how to play fast but also confident was probably the biggest thing. So I think that year of development, being able to redshirt, will put me in a good spot this year.
I'm never entirely sure what kind of the communities in rural Utah are like. So did you grow up much of a BYU fan out there in Manti area?
A little bit. I would say we were more of a Washington State fan just because that's where my dad played college. So I kind of just grew up being Washington State. But I always loved BYU. I loved just LaVell Edwards Stadium because I went to a few games when I was younger. So I think that's a big reason why I chose BYU overall.
Sorry I'm late, but what kind of kept you out last year of action? You started the season, and then what kind of kept you away from playing football?
Yeah, so last year, the first few practices, the second week of practice, I actually messed up my hamstring really bad. That set me out probably for the first 4 games. And then at that point, coming back was hard. Getting my lungs under me, getting the playbook back, because, when you're off for that long, it's kind of hard. So we ended up just taking the red shirt and then started. My first game was the TCU game. From then it was good, but I think just injury setbacks and then getting back into the rhythm of it was the biggest thing from last year.
Where do you see yourself fitting in on this depth chart at receiver?
Pretty high, honestly. Right now we got JoJo and Kyler and Legend, and then I think I'm right there in the mix. If I continue to do what I can and work hard every day, I think I can get up there with a good rotation.
So did you really catch 2 TD passes in the scrimmage?
I did, yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was cool, I think that was my first touchdown in LaVell Edwards Stadium, so it was way cool. Yeah.
Think it's the first of many?
I hope so, yeah. First of many, right?
Hey, you went to a smaller high school, and then not long ago you were at Weber State. What's the journey been like over the last 18 months to be here?
It's been really crazy, going from Manti High School to Snow to Weber. Just kind of like the step up from smaller, and then big, and then, yeah. It's been crazy, but, I feel like I learned a ton. Seeing a whole bunch of different cultures football-wise, and meeting a whole bunch of different people I loved. So it's been fun, but it was definitely a challenge, moving so fast and having to learn playbooks and meeting new people, fitting in, figuring out, where I fit in was hard. But overall, I'm happy I did it. This is the place I want to be.
So what is a level 15 gymnast, and how has that helped your football career?
Level 15 gymnast. Basically, I can do any sort of like gymnastics trick. My mom owned a gym back in Ephraim, so it's actually crazy. My mom used to talk about how being a gymnast, because she's kind of the one who like made me do it. She said being a gymnast will help you with body control and like learning how to land safely. So I mean, it worked out, I guess.
What was your best event? Was it rings? Was it?
It was
like floor?
It was floor. Yeah, floor was my best.
So what was your best pass? Your best tumbling pass?
Cool. It's been a long time. It was like backflip, back handspring, backflip, back handspring, back handspring, back handspring, and then like a full. So that was a while ago though.
When did you quit gymnastics?
Around probably 11 years old. About.
When you reached like 6 foot?
Yeah, exactly. I got a little too tall, and my dad's like, "Yeah, time to stop." So.
How was your dad? Sorry, how was your dad?
If you get a touchdown, are you going to do a celebration?
I mean, yeah. Maybe I should do a backflip. That'd be very fitting. So, yeah.
You come from a good pedigree. Obviously, Pops played high-level football. How has he mentored you through this process? You're a small town, kind of underdog, but you had the pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
How has he mentored you to, reach your potential?
Yeah, he's done a good job. I feel like he always pushed me past like what people could see. He, like growing up in high school, I wouldn't say challenged that much, but it's just a kind of like a lower level. So he always made sure to like take me out by himself after practice and stuff and catch, do some releases, some blocking stuff. So I think just the extra work he put in with me was the biggest thing that helped me. And then he also gave me confidence to understand that I can play at a higher level. To get my mental right, and for that I'm thankful.
Yeah, did he tell you, hey, like you have the ability to play Division I football if you want to?
Yeah, he always believed in me. He said, you're big, you're strong, you're fast. I think if you put your mind to it, you'll be able to play at a high level. So thanks to him, that's why I'm here.
Is there a story behind your name, Reggie? Don't see a lot of Reggies.
I know. I don't think so, honestly. I think my parents were just like, yeah, I don't know.
You probably never heard of him.
No, I have, but don't really know much. So.
Who have you been impressed by in the receiver room? Obviously, you're on the come up. You're a rising star in the group. Who have you been impressed by?
Been impressed by a name you guys hear a lot. It's Legend Glasgow. Young kid, picked up the playbook fast, really smart. Legends one. I'm also really impressed with Terrence Sarion. He's doing well. He had a really great practice today. Younger guys are stepping up a lot, so I'm excited for them.
How much improvement have you personally seen from Bear from last year to this year in his accuracy? A-Rod said he's one of the most accurate passers he's ever coached.
Yeah, he's gotten incredible over the offseason. He's making plays that we can't even believe sometimes. He's rolling out, he's throwing it across the middle, right on the dime. So he's improved a ton, and I think he's going to be very dangerous this year, especially with our receiving core.
All right, there's wide receiver Reggie Frischknecht from BYU. We're going to take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
I just got done saying that I think that it's a good fit for Clay. It's a good fit for Miami. The problem is what you just went through. The Eastern Conference is really good. Forever we used to say and dump on the Eastern Conference and say that it was the inferior conference compared to the Western Conference. It might still be, but it's infinitely better than it used to be. They're 7th to win the Eastern Conference. I think that's about right. Their win total over under is 44.5. I think that's about right. And I don't know that Klay Thompson really changes any of those numbers. I think that they'll be pretty solidly a play-in team at the very least, maybe fighting for the playoffs proper. But again, there's such a front load of teams that they'll have to climb over in the East. Even with Giannis and Bam, I think it's going to be tough for the Heat in terms of all those other teams that they're going to have to get past. So it's a nice signing to get Klay Thompson. They're happy to do it, but I don't think that it moves the needle all that much.
That's CBS Sports' John Gonzalez. Klay Thompson signing with Miami, bought out in Dallas. A play-in team after all that, and after Giannis. Well, life in the East. It is getting better. The gap does seem to be closing. Some of the Western teams taking steps back after years of dominance. Not the only signing this weekend. DeMar DeRozan goes to Denver. 6-time All-Star, takes a one-year deal. He got a buyout in Sacramento. I guess he's guaranteed like $10 million, so he's signing for about 3.5 there in Denver. Any of these moves do anything for you? Or the balance of power is set? Let's get to football season. Worry about NBA later. These are all around the edges anyway.
Well, make your teams better, I think. So if you make your team better, why wouldn't you do it?
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
When we expect a service, we're going to be disappointed when we don't get that service. If you go to a restaurant and your soup comes out and it's cold, you're going to be pissed. If you order from the grocery store and they deliver it and 6 of your eggs are broken, you're going to be pissed. Okay, so I get it. That's what we're in. That's why we're paid what we are. To perform at a high level. And when we don't, then that's the repercussions of it. We've run to this smoke. This is the job we've chosen. So this is part of it. None of us like to be booed. We all like to be appreciated. I think that's just human, okay? I think he emptied his heart a little bit. I don't think that says who he is. I see the competitor in him. I see the everyday work he puts in, and he wants to be back. He wants to get back to where he was as best he can, and that's hard. And, again, I think the moment just got him after the game, and it can get all of us.
That's Browns head coach Todd Monken sticking up for Deshaun Watson, who was booed by the Cleveland fans after going 5 of 12 for 35 yards and an interception during 4 second-half possessions and a 31-7 loss to the Bills. Not surprising he got booed. They're going to pick a starter between Watson and Shedeur Sanders on Monday, and then I anticipate a difficult season followed by them drafting a quarterback in the spring yet again.
Today they're going to pick one? Today's Monday.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it today.
Oh, call me, okay?
Yeah, okay, well, we'll get right on that. Raiders running back Ashton Jotty, it might be good news. Maybe a sprained ankle. He was helped off the field, couldn't put any weight on his leg. Had to fear something more serious than a sprained ankle. Even if it's the high ankle sprain that has him out 6 weeks, PK, that'd be preferable to whatever broken bone or, ligament or whatever else it could have been. So now the Raiders wait to find out how long they'll be without the guy who was supposed to be their starting running back.
Yeah, it's all about Fernando Mania.
49ers activate George Kittle from the unable to perform list. Christian McCaffrey returns to practice. Everyone looking at a good team, knowing it's also an old team and a team that has problems staying healthy, and they're having problems staying healthy in the preseason. Are they getting past the worst of it, or is this just a sign of things to come? Expect it's a sign of things to come, but time will tell. Eagles running back Jaquindon Jackson, his strength and movement in all extremities after a scary collision versus the Patriots. He did travel back to Philadelphia with the team.
Former Ute.
Left for Arkansas, right?
Yeah.
Britton Covey. He can catch touchdown passes. He can throw touchdown passes, connecting with...
He can run touchdown passes.
Tanner McGee for the Eagles' touchdown in preseason, harkening back to his Timpview High days as a quarterback.
So it's a trick play?
I suppose it would be, yes. CeeDee Lamb's home burglarized while the Cowboys wide receiver was at camp. We see this periodically. Players' whereabouts known, and they get targeted. Broken window. Left with bags full of valuable stuff. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of negatives that are involved around this. One, once you go to the NFL, to me, you're in the NFL. You don't get the opportunity to come back. Two, most of us have built our rosters, and you have a limited roster limit now. So if you invited somebody back to your team, that means you're kicking somebody else off your team, right, to match your roster limits. I don't think that's fair to the players that worked all summer, all spring, and put themselves in position to be ready to work for a team. To have somebody come back. But ultimately, it used to be once you had an agent, or once you went and did the combine, or once you went to all those things qualified as you are no longer an amateur, you're a professional now, once you declared for the draft. So to let any of those players come back, fair or unfair to them, it's unfair to the sport. And I think it's unfair to the players that are on current teams, for those guys to be coming back.
That's Oregon head coach Dan Lanning on NFL players going back to college football. Daquan White to be waived by the Browns, set to go back to college football and join LSU. The NCAA did get a win in court, pausing an extra year of eligibility for class of 2022 athletes. For now, college athletes from the high school class of 2022 are not NCAA eligible unless they're covered by a separate state court ruling. What a roller coaster. You can't even figure it out. It changes every day. Another court case, another decision, everything upside down again. KJ Jackson will start at quarterback for Arkansas in their season opener. Obviously, that's game 2, Arkansas at Utah. So we can keep our eye on him for something on the field so you don't have to follow court decisions and 2022 eligibility.
Seems like he's been around forever.
Alabama names Keelan Russell their quarterback for the opener versus ECU. He'll get the start. And Reese Davis, ESPN, pushing back on Kalen DeBoer, hot seat talk. I just don't think his job is in any jeopardy. They're not winning there like they're used to, so you get why people say that, but they're also presumably getting outspent by a wide margin by schools like LSU, so you would think that might temper it a little bit.
It's tempered it for me. I'm very tempered.
Good. Missouri without Ahmad Hardy for the season opener.
Oh, rats.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Swing and a fly ball. Center field. It's got a chance. Church back out of room. Yes. And it's over. Yeah. It's over. Kyle Schwarber with a walk-off home run into the hedges in dead center field. And the Phillies have absolutely stung the Cardinals 6-4 with 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Swing and a fly ball. Center field. It's deep. Back on it is Ewing. It is gone. The ball game is over. Tristan Peters with the latest walk-off homer.
Highlights from a day full of Major League Baseball. You heard Kyle Schwarber going deep, and I suppose this is analytics at work, PK. Kyle Schwarber leads the majors in home runs with 39. Back in the day, he would have been hitting in probably in the 4th spot, certainly in the 3, 4, 5 role, somewhere in there. And now he's batting leadoff. And he was 0 for 4 with a strikeout, but putting him in the top spot got him a 5th at bat, and sure enough, he won the game with it.
Yeah, he did, man. They were down 4-0. Scored 6 in the bottom of the 9th. Dramatic. Dead center field.
Only 3 games behind the Braves. That horrible start. They could still end up winning the division and getting a playoff bye if they finish strong. Think he has any chance in the playoff in the MVP talk, or just with Ohtani and Pete Crow Armstrong? It's pretty much decided.
I think he has a chance. You ask any chance, the answer would be yes.
A good chance. Probably not.
That stuff doesn't. I don't care about that stuff.
Mariners get crushed again. Bryce Miller getting the start. He was the starter in the 22-0 loss they had last week. Now they get beat 19-2 by the Cubs.
That's the first time in 100 years or something like that.
Obviously, not all those runs on him. He'd been knocked out of the game, but nonetheless, losing games by 17 and 22 runs. Arizona Diamondbacks place Michael Soroka on the injured list. Yankees' Ryan Weathers, hopeful for a 2026 return. He's got a forearm strain. The injury's piling up late in the year.
They're going to miss Soroka's bat in the lineup. You know what I mean?
Nope.
You don't?
I really don't.
Why not?
Don't follow the Diamondbacks that closely.
Because you have no idea who he is?
Pretty much.
He's a pitcher.
See, I figured. Trick question. Arizona, though, with a win, 5-3. They had that bad series in Red Sox and Marte leaving the team and all that, but can they get their feet under him here, PK?
He was photographed Friday night as the team was battling it out at a local casino during game time.
That sends a message.
Like they got a problem there.
Bees wiped out by weather yesterday. Got 4 innings in, but then the thunderstorm came, and they're not going to finish that. They're not going to reschedule it, so on they go. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
Cougars updating Lavelle Edwards Stadium, a new home team locker room, upgraded premium seats, a new recruits lounge, future premium seating and lounges to come. Upscaling everything, PK, in the constant race for more dollars. Trying to catch up to everybody who's in front of you in college football and stay ahead of the people you already passed.
Well, that's an old stadium there. So, all these other stadiums have been upgraded along the way. So it seems like they're have opportunities to upgrade that. And, yeah, go ahead and do it. If you're not going to build a new one, then you upgrade the one you have, right?
Those seem to be the options, right? And even if you're going to build a new one, it's going to take years. You want to make money in the meantime. So get those new premium seats and those new premium lounges going. DJ and PK.
#RSL.
Centrally to Ruiz. Ruiz to the far side to Catranas. How about Catranas with the right foot? That was a good ball. And here's a shot, and a goal, and RSL scores, and it's Marchuk as they play right through Orlando City, and he scores in the 36th minute. 53rd minute. Here comes Orlando on a counter. They send it in front to DK Stadjar off his line, and DK scores, and Orlando has tied it up in the 53rd minute. There's a ball over to the far side. Spicer, step over into the area. Griezmann, heel flick, deflected, falls back to him, shot, and a goal. And Orlando takes the lead, 2-1. Lucky deflection, and they finish it and take the lead. Griezmann scores twice. He actually came in and beat DK to that first ball and got the goal. So his 2 second-half goals, RSL, another lead, but again, dropped points. A loss, 2-1. It's become a familiar story. They get beat, so they're now winless in their last 7 MLS games. They go back in the Leagues Cup quarterfinals tomorrow night. Got to bounce back and play Leon. The game is in Colorado. RSL offering complimentary tickets for fans to the Leagues Cup quarterfinals if you want to head over there and watch that game.
In Denver?
It's in Commerce City. It's where the Rapids play, just outside of Denver, yeah.
So they'll give you free tickets to travel 8 hours to watch soccer?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, okay. Don't normally hear away games getting free tickets by the visiting team.
So it's a neutral site with Leon also being away. So get some people in there, I guess. You're
Cool.
right. It's a highly unusual, though.
Yeah.
The whole situation, the whole setup is unusual. DJ and PK.
#Golf.
You made it at 16. You made it at 17. Similar length now at 18. Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3. And Wyndham is the winner of the BMW Championship.
Talk about finishing in style.
For over 3 hours, we wondered where had that gone? Had it disappeared? This is what it looked like the first 3 days.
Wyndham Clark, final round 70. He wins by 3 shots to capture the BMW Championship over Patrick Cantley, 4 over Rory McIlroy. A dominant performance and $3.6 million for Wyndham Clark. 64s and 65s, PK gave himself some breathing room going 64 Thursday and Friday and a 65 on Saturday. You don't usually see guys backing up low numbers like that on the PGA Tour, but he did it.
Emily Tanner is very happy.
Because?
She's moving in with him.
All right.
Moving to Scottsdale. Old Emily. Way to go.
What are you giggling about? Paychecks why I live in Scottsdale?
Her?
Yeah.
Yeah, she announced that she's moving in with Clark in an Instagram post on Thursday. Good for her, man. Quit your gig. Go over there. If you had a gig. Moving over from California. Things are really coming together for him.
All right, on to the Tour Championship next as golf winds down with football on the horizon. That is what is trending. Segment sponsored by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up next, it's the question of the day. Pete Sousa will join us He will talk Big 12 football, does Inside the Big 12. He's back with us to preview the season, and he'll be coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. More football on the way. Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big this Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Win Tickets Wednesday. This week, Motley Crue with performances by Tesla and Extreme at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater, September 21st. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Get your tickets today and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. Question of the money. How close will the money match the standings? We're seeing multiple people come out trying to figure out the NIL numbers. Texas Tech, it does seem like most people think Texas Tech is right in that low to mid, however you describe it, $33 million range for NIL, and that puts them almost $10 million in front of everybody. Houston's $9 million behind. Everybody else is $10 million or more. Colorado and BYU on $23 million. TCU and Oklahoma State on $22. The Utes are at $21.9. Feel free to round them up, PK. Round them up. Your Devils are 9th at 21.5. There's actually a fair amount of congestion / compactness here with the other schools, with one notable exception, Texas Tech at the top. To answer the question, I don't think when you've got a 5 or 10% difference in NIL, that's going to really lock the standings in. Now you get $10 million clear of somebody. You got 50% more money than some teams or most teams. Yeah, Texas Tech, it ought to determine the standings. It ought to be up there at the top.
Yeah, but the problem here is if it grows 5 or 10% each year, then in 3 years it's 30% bigger. So it is a big deal right now. That's what Dillingham keeps talking about. It's not catching up, because if you catch up, you've fallen behind. So absolutely, it's a big deal today, because if the trend continues, then the gap will continue to widen by even more so. So you have to be concerned about it all the time, every day.
Well, you do have to be concerned about it every day if you fall behind.
But if you catch up, you're falling behind.
Don't you feel like Arizona State is pretty much in the middle? I mean, if you're talking about Texas Tech, absolutely.
Right.
Yes. I mean, Tech isn't 5 or 10% in front. Tech's got 50% on most of the league, right? 33, and most of the league would be at 20, is at 22-ish. So it's a massive concern with Texas Tech today. The rest of the league, I think, is pretty competitive.
It's a massive concern. Yeah, it's easy for you to say because you've got nothing at stake. But if you have something at stake and somebody's 5% ahead of you today, what's it going to be metaphorically tomorrow? Yeah. And then so forth and so on. So it is a major concern right now.
And you're 5% ahead of somebody else, but I don't think he thinks that means it'd be a guarantee.
You're not fighting. Hey, we're going to finish 9th. Bring it in. Family on 3. That's not the goal. So again, it's way easy for you to say because you don't have to fight it. But if you have to fight it, it's a major obstacle every single day.
And we've seen this in a lot of professional sports where we see the numbers, and the 5 or 10% can be overcome. And it is overcome on a regular basis.
Right.
And I get if he's out there and he wants to scream and he needs more money, and he's going to, because it's going to go up. I mean, all these numbers.
All are.
Yeah, all these numbers are going to be bigger in 3 years. There's no doubt.
It's a major concern right now. Yeah, because you're assuming that the folks who donated you to put you in 10th place are going to donate again. So that's a huge assumption.
I assume that they are going. Well, my assumption is that they go through their lists and they know that there are some people who are going to donate again and there's some people who aren't. And I think with each one of these schools, somebody might be like, hey, we're going to have to replace this $5 million in 3 years. And somebody else is like, we got to replace this $10 million in 3 years.
Sure.
And I'm sure
if it was available to be replaced, they'd have it now.
Yeah. And they don't know where they're going to get it?
Yeah, so that's a major concern.
I think the thing that isn't shown here, where the major concern is right now, is this league versus all the other leagues. Because I think the numbers would show that they're way behind. Because when you're recruiting against people in your league, but also outside your league because so much of it is national. So ASU today not only could lose a player in a recruiting battle to Arizona or Utah or BYU, but USC and UCLA are coming in there. And if somebody's really good, you've listed all the kids who've gone to Texas schools. And so a lot of them aren't even on this list. And many of them are, if not with Texas Tech, they're in front of Texas Tech. So they're coming in after kids that Dillingham wants, builds a relationship with, and the kid blows up, and then he's off to somewhere
That's
outside
the same
the Big
thing
12.
as Scally and on, everybody. It's not particular to one school. And I'm not really that concerned about the gap between them and the Big Ten and the SEC. Why be concerned about that?
Because you lost your quarterback to the SEC. Because you lost your running back to the SEC.
Sure. And that'll happen every year.
Because of that gap.
But you're not competing with Texas or LSU.
Right, but those players could have helped you beat, fill in the blank school. I mean, whoever's on your schedule that year.
Right, so then, both of those guys, you can't really whine about it because both of those guys, the quarterback and the running back, they were transfers in.
Of course you can whine about it.
So you just go get other people.
You don't get all excited because you got more money than fill in the blank school. You obsess about the schools.
Well,
you
one
can't
was
get.
Michigan State, the other one was SC. So it's not just money.
No, they come for playing time or coaching or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. They all have their stories.
You can't sit there and complain, well, I lost these guys. Man, they're so just take the money and go and carpetbaggers because you took them into your program from other programs. So I'm not worried about that. And that's going to continue. That's going to always be out there. So they had no loyalty to your program in the first place. They just saw it for them to have the better opportunity to get what they were looking for. And they got what they were looking for, and now they got more of what they're looking for. So I don't see where anybody has a leg to stand on that. If you bring in a transfer and then that player blows up and leaves, okay, isn't that what you want? Isn't that the Todd Phillips UVU thing? That means he played really well for you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have the money, that's the pitch. That's the story you need to tell. Everybody needs a story to tell in recruiting.
Yeah. So they lost him. One guy ran over 1,000 yards, and the other guy was a quarterback for the team that went to the playoff. I think you would take that every time, knowing that they're only going to be there for 1 or 2 years. Okay, That's just the way it is now, and there's no point in complaining about that. You benefited from the system. More so, if Leavitt brought them, in large part, not exclusively, a conference title. You would take that from they've got 2 transfers in right now. You would take that. They win in the next 2 years. One of them wins a conference title and then goes someplace else. You take that every time.
In a heartbeat.
So that's not an issue, I don't think. Maybe that's the way I look at it. And then you just go get somebody else. But you're not competing with the SEC and the Big Ten. So why worry about that?
Because they'll take your guys. I mean, it's your story you tell us. It's a story you tell us about baseball where they can take your starter to go be their backup. I mean, I think it bugs people. I mean, is it your primary thing? No, because you're probably not going to go out there on a Saturday, with the exception of Utah's playing Arkansas. So maybe you have one game, or in the case of a lot of these teams, they're not playing any power league teams, so they're not going to lose to those teams. So while it's a problem in the offseason, you're right. Once you get into October, you're going to be worried about the teams in your league.
Yeah.
And Earl says Texas Tech is going to win because their money is much more than the rest. The others are close enough; it doesn't make an enormous difference. But I think
that's so short-sighted. It's easy for Earl to say.
I think the thing it does is that because it makes every game competitive, and so you're not worried about it because you can win any game, but you're also worried about it because this is how a league ends up beating itself up. That's the thing the Big 12 gets hit with. Yeah, you're competitive, but none of your teams are great. But when you haven't outspent people and the game's a slugfest every week, and, okay, you figure out a way to win one, you figure out a way to win another, you figure out a way to win third, but when you drop that fourth game, now you're in trouble. Now it's like, okay, we can't have anything go wrong, or you're out. And you saw that. Utah got 2 losses, and they were out early, and everybody knew it, and they ended up having a great season and going 11-2. But there was no thought late in the season that somehow they might squeeze their way in, and you could just see it running out. Like, these other teams aren't going to lose, and the Utes are going to keep winning, and they can't get there. So
isn't that every
beat yourself
season?
up. It is in the Big 12 because the money's the same, and you have the same money, but that doesn't mean you go 4-4. You outsmart them. You go 6-2. You go 7-2, but you still need help.
Help for what?
To get into the conference title game. Does 7-2 get you in? Whereas if you've outspent the league, you can blow through some of these games and not worry about it so much. And we see it. We see leagues that are top-heavy. The Big Ten is top-heavy. The ACC is very top-heavy. But where the money's the same, these teams beat each other up over the course of the year.
Every league is top-heavy. Because every year you're going to have teams that separate, so that's always going to be that way.
I think you think so? With 4 teams at 7-2 in year one, you think they separated?
And then you got me on that.
Well, we've only had 2 years of this, so there's a year they separated. I mean, Utah, BYU, and Texas Tech separated last year. For sure.
So they were top heavy.
But nonetheless, even though the Utes were in the top group, they didn't really have a path in.
Well, sure they did. They lost to win the game, and you got a path.
But in the last month, that's the thing. You can beat each other up. And year one, they did. You're right. Year two, not so much. Those 3 against the rest of the league were brilliant. They lost when they played each other.
Okay, well, that's
I suspect there's going to be more of that.
How does that change from year to year? That very well could happen the next 25 years in a row. That's football. When you keep standings, that's what you got.
I think there's going to be more of beat each other up. And I think it's probably reflected because this money is so close.
It's close now. But, yeah, okay.
Well, I'm talking about this season. You're
Me
right.
too.
If we get separation 3 years from now, I bet we see separation in the standings.
I think there's a couple of things here. Yeah. So they're going to beat each other up. Okay.
Oh, then it's a one playoff bid league,
Yeah.
and that frustrates people, especially because Texas Tech has run away with the money.
So if it gets 2 in, that solves all the problems, and you both get beat in the first round like they're going to more often than not?
It doesn't solve all the problems. It doesn't solve all the problems, but if you're the one who gets in as a second, it solves your problems. And right now, BYU and Utah look like they're in there.
For one season, it solves your problem. Then you go right back at it next year.
Yeah.
Does anybody think anybody from the Big 12 is going to win the national title? Because I sure as the heck don't.
No, but that's what I said earlier about you're worried about these other leagues that have pulled away from you. And it's
Why?
Because they're going to beat you in the playoffs with their more money.
No kidding. It's always been that way. The Utes get to the Rose Bowl. They lose. This is not news. This is the way it is way more often than not. There's outliers out there.
And they want the outliers, and they want to change their position in the universe.
Great, and I want to be 6'2" with $5 million in the bank. Neither of them is going to happen.
But they have changed their position in the universe over time, so they figure there's hope.
Not
and
against
there's a chance.
Sure, you have all the Scally's up there saying, we can do it here. No, you can't. But he thinks he's going to say it because he's speaking to his people, and they're all riled up. And, yeah, great. Have all the hope you want. Joe Glenn said to the students in the student union, we're going to go beat Utah.
Yeah,
and he got slaughtered.
He had to be held accountable.
Hope. That's sports. Yeah.
Yeah, but the hope paid off in 2004. It paid off in 2008. It paid off at the Rose Bowls.
It paid off in a row. They lost the Rose Bowls.
They won the Pac-12, and they went to the Rose Bowl, and that changed their place in the universe. And you're right. They lost the game, but they want to get back.
And then they're in a conference that you just told me is way far behind. I think they took a step down. They didn't improve themselves. They had nothing to do with it. It's not their fault. But they actually took a step down. But their place in the universe is reduced compared to where it was 4 years ago.
And Ute fans agree, and that's why they're not excited about the move to the Big 12.
They didn't take a step up.
But they think they can go take another step up.
They can think all they want. Great. Good for them. I got it. And let's do 2 bids. We got more spirit than you. Great. Fine.
All right. Don't go to the games. Never mind. You'll never get any better.
You take it to the extreme.
You're not taking it to the extreme.
I'm taking it to the realistic extreme. Yes. To me, it's not about winning and losing. So I've never said don't go to the games. Go tailgate with your family, with your friends. Don't let the score determine whether you had a good day. I've only said that 5 million times, and I'll say that forever. So I don't get caught up in the score. You can have great times. On November 7th, whoever wins that game is going to be flying high. They're going to love it. Those times don't go away just because you don't get to the playoff or just because you lose in the Rose Bowl. You've got those memories with your family and your friends that you spent all day with. That's what it's about to me. It's not about the score. I've never gotten into the score. It's about having a good time. So to accuse me of saying, oh, well, come on, you got no hope. No, the hope is in tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. And I'm going to have a heck of a good time. And if the game doesn't end my way, well, it doesn't take away from the good time that I've had. Who screams that from the mountaintop louder than me?
And yet, thousands of fans go there, and the winning and losing. If they're losing big, they'll leave early.
And yet, that these teams have very little hope of winning the national title.
They do.
Right. So that's exactly what I'm saying.
But there's a chance. You can change your place in the universe. There was very little hope of going 13-0 and beating Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, and somehow they pulled it off.
Great. And that's a lifetime experience. Revel in that. I was there. I experienced it with them. I was at the Final Four. I experienced it with them. I was at the Fiesta Bowl. I experienced it with them. I was at the parade with them both years at the Rose Bowl. I experienced it with them. That's what I'm talking about. It's the experience of it, not some score by some 18 to 22 or 23-year-old that's going to determine it. I screamed that over and over again.
And that part is weird. And nonetheless, they need those 18 and 23-year-olds to beat USC and Oregon so they could go to the parade.
And have a phenomenal time while you're doing it. Absolutely.
I just remember doing radio before they got in the Pac-12, and I can remember David Locke saying if they get in, they're going to be at best like Cal and Oregon State and Washington State. And there were days that they took the beatings that Cal and Oregon State and Washington State took. But then there was a pretty good run of time where they were clearly much better than them. So even though if it's hard to get to change your place in the universe, it can be done.
But they didn't get in the playoff. You're talking about the playoff. That was the big knock against the Pac-12. You didn't get multiple teams in.
Well, you didn't get any team in for a lot of years.
Right. Yeah. And so if that's your standard of happiness or, oh, come on, PK, don't, you're just taking it to the extreme. So you either got that or this. Not for me. That's your sign. You assigned me that. No, for me, it's about the fun times along the way that you get to experience with your family and friends. That's what it's about. That's why you do it. You don't buy season tickets and spend all that money for hope to where we're going to go and win the national title when you had your athletic director for years telling you flat out, you have no chance. Why would you do that? Why would you buy season tickets back in you live in the past on this, you recite all this other stuff. Why they couldn't do it back then. Why would you buy season tickets? Well, because it's not about that. It's about the fun. It's the anticipation. It's about something to do that's wholesome with people, and there'll be exciting plays along the way. And maybe you don't get out on the top end of it one time, 2 times, 3 times. Okay, but then you go back and you had a bunch of fun times along the way. That's what it's about. That's the essence. That's the essence of life. Not worrying about, oh, man, if we don't have one more point than them, my life is ruined. My day is ruined. The money I spent on this was wasted. Because more often than not, if that's going to be your standard, it's going to be wasted. Far more often than not.
Way more seasons without a conference title than seasons with a conference title. I just saw a list of the best teams in the last 50 years. You can tell we're in the dog days of camp. The best teams in the last 50 years without a national title. And there were some really good programs. The Utes were on the list. And
now we're going back 75 years?
No, they went back 50. It said in the last 50 years.
Can we look ahead?
And they were looking at it like you win a conference title maybe once every
Right. I was at the Vegas Bowl last
year.
I ran into dozens and dozens and dozens of Ute fans. They had a great time. That's what it's about.
So do you think they'll have a great time even though Texas Tech is spending money and running away from the rest of the
think they'll have great times this season. Absolutely do. I think they'll have great times this season. Yes, I do. I think they'll have several. They could have 9. If the final score is determined upon great times, if that's what equals great times, they'll have 9, 10, maybe 11 great times. Are they going to win the national title? No.
No, they're not.
But I don't care about that. I understand that. Texas Tech, Cody Campbell is going to be disappointed year after year after year. if that's what his goal is, and he can get there. Oregon, Oregon has been nothing but a loser program. Phil Knight has wasted all this money because they haven't won it all. But no, I've been to their stadium plenty of times when they're hooting and hollering and having a great time. That's what you have to look at. That's what you enjoy. I think the thing that makes it bad is what Kyle Whittingham said. He's been saying it, and I don't know if he says it now because he's got the money at Michigan, so he doesn't have to say it. But in the first years of NIL, there's going to come a time very soon where the top 25 correlates directly with the top 25 NIL budgets. It's not that way in professional sports, fortunately, or else professional sports would be a big turnoff. And college is now professional sports, but we still separated college and pro. If it's literally like that, if we get to December and that graphic that's there on Facebook, if it just correlates exactly to the standings and you have 5 years of that, that'll take a hit on the sport. People won't like that. If you have no chance because someone's spending X amount of money and you're spending less than that and you're spending the fifth most in the conference, so you finish in fifth place. If there literally is a direct line, that'll be a turnoff for people because then there is no hope. Give them hope. Scally gets up there and says, yeah, we can do it right here. Good for you, man. Say it. Say it all you want. Believe it to your very core and strive for it every single year. Maybe you'll get it. But I'm sitting over here. I'm a half-empty guy. Well, to me, you've got very little chance, as does most of those schools in the conference. Maybe Tech can rise above it. Maybe BYU can rise above it. But I'm going to lack faith on that. All I know is Texas Tech went and didn't even score a point against a team with a similar or bigger budget. Didn't score a point. And I'm supposed to think they've got a shot? Reality is they probably don't. Maybe they do. Good. I mean, I said it several years back. I wrote it on KSL about the Utes don't have any chance here. And it wasn't a shot against the Utes, but people took it as a shot against the Utes. And they came after me. One guy says, man, if they get in, I'm going to remind you every single day for the rest of my life.
You haven't heard from him again. Yeah, because you're right. That's an old story.
Right.
Yeah.
And did I take joy in saying it? No. I'm going to present the truth as I see it. And sometimes the truth, you're going to love it. And sometimes the truth, you're going to hate it. So what does that mean? Sometimes you're going to love me. And sometimes you're going to hate me. Because I'm going to present to you unfiltered as I see it.
The one potential hole in Kyle Whittingham's argument about the top 25 rankings matching the top 25 NIL budgets. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty and the coach 10 to 2, Tim Daly Nissan Southtown, Wednesday, 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Question of the morning, how close will the money match the standings? Got the graphic up on our Facebook page, DJ and PK. Texas Tech NIL money, they think it's about $33 million. Houston's next at $24.5 million. BYU's at $23 million. Utah's seventh at about $22 million. As we go forward, PK, are we going to see colleges that have this big money that routinely mess it up? We've seen it in pro sports. We see NBA teams, NFL teams. Well, NFL's got the hard cap and everybody's up against it. But we see NBA and MLB teams that spend more money but don't seem to get anything for that money. And if you're chasing several of those teams, well, then one of them's going to hit and you're in a tough spot even if somebody messes it up. But when you're only chasing one, do you think there's any chance Texas Tech makes mistakes and opens the door for other teams to win the league?
Well, they can have injuries too. So, yeah.
Well, we've already seen with Sorsby, this $33 million, his $5 million would have been on top of that. They'd be at 38. So in a way, that thing has already brought them back to the pack to a degree.
Yeah, I think you can have those issues. Yeah, the thing about it with you're going on the pro level, and you'll go to the Mets, and we'll go to the same ones over and over again, is that those are all guaranteed contracts. And they're multi-year contracts.
So one mistake haunts you for multiple years.
Yeah, and they're getting their money either way. In colleges, it doesn't work that way.
Nope. It's all one-year deals and perpetual free agency.
Right. So
even if you mess it up, you can bounce back and recover pretty quick.
And in the pros, you've already made it. The colleges, no one's made it. So you're trying to make it. So there's a big difference. I wouldn't compare to the pros to the college because they're fat and happy. They get their money. The manager's going to get fired, and you're still going to make your X amount of million, and you've got 4 more years to go on your deal. Well, that doesn't play in college. They're most likely not going to fire the coach in that way. And you're only guaranteed the money now, today. Tomorrow, you're guaranteed nothing.
It's only a one-year mistake. You get out from under it in a heartbeat.
And then you want to make the pros on top of that because you can get all that money, and if you don't make the pros, well, then you got to get a regular job like the rest of us.
The guy who starts slumping in the pros can just mail it in.
Right.
The guy,
he can go to the casino on Friday night while your team is facing an uphill battle to get in the playoff. And the very time your team is playing, you're at the casino in a public setting where you know full well you're going to be recognized.
0% chance you're not going to end up on social media.
Yes.
100% chance you will end up on social media.
Right. And now all the players and coaches have to answer for that. And that's a literal example happened with the Diamondbacks on Friday. Marte, their best player, who quit on them last week.
Didn't show up for the ballpark a second time.
Right. And then he flies back to Phoenix, and when the team is playing downtown, you're over there right across the street from, there's a casino literally right across the freeway from where they have their spring training. And that's where they have all their meetings and stuff, Salt River Fields, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Right across literally you could take a golf ball and smack it into their golf courses that they have right there. Talking Stick it's what it's named, right off the 101. And he chose to be there knowing full well he would be photographed and put on social media, and he's still going to get his millions. You're not going to have that in college, so I wouldn't worry about that. And are some players not going to live up to their money? Yes, of course.
Yeah, but it's a 1-year mistake, not a 4-year mistake. Or 5 or whatever it turns out to be with each individual contract.
So I wouldn't really worry about that.
You'll get temporary relief from chasing down Texas Tech, but not long-term relief.
But, things can happen, right? That money that was there for Texas Tech, they did lose a game in conference. Right? So
ASU, got him.
Maybe somebody can do that again this year. I hope so. I hope it's one of the two locals. I hope it's the two locals playing each other.
Because somebody does it in the regular season, opens the door for them both to go.
I want.
It needs to start with Houston right out of the gate, and then we'll see if somebody else can make it happen.
Sure. Or you get them. Well, I guess if you got them in the conference final, then both wouldn't be in.
Right.
But I don't have a whole lot of hope for these teams advancing deep into the playoff. But I'm sure as heck going to root for it, and I want it. Because it's good, and I've got a lot of friends at both places, and I want to see them successful. Plus, it's great for us for business, and I'll always root for what's good for business. And people will be excited, and I'll get to go probably, and it'll be all sorts of fun. As I said, I've been there every step of the way with the Utes. Wherever they've been, I've been.
It extends the college football season another month, and
I want that.
Always a positive.
Yeah, so I'll be pulling for them. Absolutely, when they play Notre Dame. Yeah. Sure. Why not? My fandom isn't going to have any. When I'm sitting in the press box silently rooting for them, whoop-de-freaking do. It's going to have zero effect on anything. I've learned that a long time ago. Who cares what I root for and what I don't root for?
Can't move the needle.
And I don't put any money on the game, so it doesn't matter. But, yeah, I think it's going to be – if Notre Dame is cracked up to what they say they are, well, that's going to be really hard. But give it a shot, man. If you should win that game, that'll be a lifetime memory for you and your folks that you go with. If you bring your son or your daughter, you're probably going to end up out on the field after the game, blah, 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 as the guy's saying, please stay off the field over the loudspeakers.
0% chance that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless you put up the chain link and bring out the tasers like they did at the Fiesta Bowl, the people will be on the field.
Yeah, and you'll have those folks probably who went on the field when they beat Notre Dame, or Miami. What was it now? 36 years ago. 35 years ago, whatever it was. Was it 90 or 91, somewhere in there? They went nuts, and they'll remember that. That's what it's about. And any single game, you have a chance. So when Oklahoma plays Boise State, any single game. But that's not what the playoff is about. It's not about any single game anymore.
The championship is about 4 in a row now.
Right.
3 of you can get a bye, but 4.
Right.
Because the Big 12's probably not getting the bye.
And that seems awfully difficult to accomplish. Can they win any of those games? Can they beat Alabama? Yes. Absolutely they can beat Alabama. No doubt about it. And BYU can beat Miami, and But can you, to get to the end, you got to do it several weeks. You got to do it basically the whole month of January. That's hard.
When we come back, Pete Sousa inside the Big 12 and the Pete Sousa Show. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined by Pete Sousa, host of Inside the Big 12 and the Pete Sousa Show. Pete, good morning.
David, Patrick, what's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Well, we're just dragging through the fall camp that happens in summer when it's 100 degrees here in Utah, and we can't wait to get to the games and be surprised by something, by anything. That's the beauty of sports. It's unscripted drama. You got any surprises you're leaning towards for all the talk we're getting about college football? You think people are overlooking somebody or some team?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was taking a look at Big 12 quarterbacks this morning because I've never been in my life so close to the conference and the quarterback play, just like following it, talking to coaches, talking to players. And it is interesting when you see the way that we rank the Big 12 quarterbacks now, or like the experts rank them. Like I was looking at an article from On3 this morning, and that's a site and an outlet that I really trust. Those guys know ball. And, you know, if you look at their rankings, they have like DJ Lagway, Avery Johnson. They even have Bear Bachmeier ranked at 4 with Connor Wegman. Those guys are all like in the middle of the pack. And then at the top is Drew Mestamaker, Devin Dampier, guys who were not Noah Fafita, right? Guys who have been the sleepers are now the stars, and like the star quarterbacks are now the sleepers. So in a perfect world for the Big 12, right, you would see a guy like DJ Lagway, Avery Johnson, or even Juju Lewis at Colorado like reach their potential, or at least somewhat. And then you've got like so many exciting quarterbacks. Personally, you guys out there in Salt Lake are actually talking to the right guy this morning. I have week 1, I have Thursday night at Utah. I'm calling that game for ESPN, so Idaho at Utah. And then we're going down the road to Provo for Saturday night for Utah Tech BYU. So I have both those games, and I've been digging into both those teams. And I'm so pumped to see Utah and Devin Dampier, like a healthy 100% Devin Dampier, and then also one more year of development from Bear Bachmeier after an explosive freshman campaign.
I keep reading and seeing that there was possibilities of Tech bringing in another quarterback. Is that sending an inappropriate message that we don't really believe in you, Will, even though you're our guy?
Well, look, as far as that quarterback situation is concerned, I think that's just they're trying to – it's a CYA deal, right? Cover your you-know-what. I don't think they want to get caught with their pants down because last year, really one of the things that buoyed Texas Tech and their playoff hopes was when Baron Morton went down, Will Hammond was there, and he was able to hold the line and at times maybe even take Texas Tech above the line. So I think it's more for depth. I don't know that it is like, hey, Will Hammond, you're not playing well enough. Here's one thing I will say. They are very, how should I say, they're holding the steering wheel pretty tight at Tech about offensive production this year. They do not want to end up in another situation where they're in the college football playoff and their offense gets embarrassed. So I think there is a little bit of, hey, what can we do? What can we do? And in a universe of college football where, you know, we've got a guy who just spent training camp with the Browns who is more than likely going to be playing with LSU this year. Like, the possibilities are endless. And we've seen, Texas Tech, God bless them, they can play like the morality role, right? Like, after everything kind of went by the wayside with Brendan Sorsby, the truth of the matter is they would probably do whatever they could to make their team better. In this climate, it's legal to do that too.
Do you think at quarterback you can bring somebody in and they don't know the offense, they don't know the guys? Does it work? I mean, if you brought in a running back or a cornerback, I totally believe it. But the later we get, doesn't it just seem impossible?
Yeah, and honestly, that's what makes Bear Bachmeier so unbelievable. That what we witnessed last year at BYU is like one of the more unique things you will ever come across. And that's because he is such a unique guy from such a unique family, really. I was watching something about his brother, Tiger, yesterday. And Tiger's like already graduated Stanford. Now he's at BYU. He's got his pilot license. He speaks like 7 different languages. Like, those guys are so smart. But the reason I bring, Bear up is because it is hard, and you can't really just do it. And so I think that's sort of a fool's errand, but I will say the idea for Tech, right, to bring in another quarterback, because this is what they were saying all along about Will Hammond and even Brendan Sorsby was like, look, if we can get somebody under center by November that is lathered up and we're ready to go, that's what we need to really punch through in the college football playoff. So I think that these coaches are aware of what you're saying, and it's like if we do bring on somebody later in the season, or somebody to start the season, it probably won't be later in the season till we expect to see them at their absolute best and totally in sync with the rest of the offense.
What did you make of Kalani Sitake being so vocal about their charge of doing more with less, and that they haven't given the program the promises that they made? It's kind of strange timing.
It's super weird. And, Kalani Sitake is such an amazing guy, and we have this body of work with him that shows us nothing but he's an amazing guy and that he's an amazing coach. So when he starts to get vocal like this, it definitely makes, people like me who are a little further away from the situation from, say, everybody day to day out there in Utah, it's a head scratcher for us. And then I talk to, guys like you and people around the program there who are really close to it, and they say that, there's some stuff going on between Kalani and Brian Santiago, and that situation has gotten pretty tense. And, Mark Hill comes on board, and is he the guy that's going to, take it over for Santiago? There's so much going on, right? Or would he potentially take over for Santiago if BYU were to move on? There's so much happening out there. And it is concerning because 2 weeks ago I said, this is all smoke. Kalani's just trying to make sure he gets what he was promised, right? Like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. And now I'm starting to think, I hope this doesn't bleed over and impact, what the Cougars are doing. Because if you think about the success, and they've had great success over the past 2 years that BYU has had, a lot of it comes because they are so in sync. Because, look, man, when you are a team that plays together and plays for a cause greater than, and everyone is on the same page and there's no drama in the locker room or around the program, the ball bounces your way. That's just how it works in football and in life, right? If you're doing the next right thing. So if that gets a little clumsy inside the program, it is kind of concerning now. It's just something I'm keeping an eye on, because you don't want to see that. We're 2 weeks now from September 5th, BYU's opener against Utah Tech. I don't think you'd see it, against Utah Tech, but next week you play Arizona, and it's like, okay. So I would think that over the next few weeks, everything will kind of be cleared up. Or I would hope, because BYU has a heck of a football team.
Morgan Scalley taking over at Utah. There's a temptation to think everything's going to go along just as it was. There's the thought that, hey, there's always some kind of learning curve. Until you've been a head coach, you can't really have that experience. I'm looking at the roster wondering if there's as many difference makers as they're used to having. They'll be solid, but big-time players making big plays in big games. I wonder if they're a little short on that. What do you think?
Well, I think they have explosive guys. Like, you bring back Devin Dampier, you still have Bird Ficklin, even a guy like Nate Johnson, who's like literally listed as athlete now. They can play him anywhere. And then, Wayshawn Parker is trying to get 1,000 yards this year. Daniel Bray behind him. I think they have the playmakers, right? Like looking at this team getting ready for this first game, I think there's a ton of excitement. Here's where I actually worry a little bit about Utah is that Kevin McKibben, their new offensive coordinator, they're talking about, hey, we're going to add more wrinkles. Last year, I love our guy, Steve Bartle, right? Bartle had the best stat. I think I was listening to you guys where he said it was like 60-40 last year, running, passing for Utah. And now it'll probably be 50-50. I don't know that I love that. I mean, I know it's a different approach, and Utah won 11 games last year. Like Kyle Whittingham's recipe worked. I understand that you got changes along the offensive line, but as Morgan Scalley says, that happens every year. You lose studs, you have to replace them. That's opportunities for other guys, and Utah certainly has the horses up front that can, maybe you're not going to have 2 first-round picks, but you're still going to be strong up front. I'll be really interested to see when we get into the thick of the Big 12 slate for Utah, are they able to just run teams and knock them off the ball and win the way that Kyle Whittingham liked to win? Or is, taking a more sexy approach to the offensive attack? Could that hurt this team? Right? I'm interested to see that because clearly, I think Morgan Scalley is going to do very well. And I think the fact that he has been coaching waiting for a while, he's more than prepared. And I just love his energy and his roots to Utah. And it seems like everybody around there is totally enamored with him being the head coach now. But the change in philosophy on offense worries me a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
I mean, he's a legend. You know what I mean? Kyle's a complete legend. I was looking, it's been 2 decades since somebody else has been a head coach at Utah. I understand Morgan Scalley's ready for the challenge, but Kyle was very special.
Can there be sleeper teams this year? And if so, who?
Yes, I definitely think there can be. I always look back to 2 years ago, and you guys, this hits close to home for you, or 2-3 years ago. We began the season with Cam Rising in Utah and Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State, right? They were everybody was talking about those 2 teams. They're number 1 and number 2 in the Big 12. And it was opposite day for the entire year. Those 2 teams were near the bottom. A lot of it had to do with injuries. But I think you got to keep an eye on Oklahoma State. I'm starting to believe that hype a little bit because Eric Morris has shown he can win at every level. And every year we have a guy a young coach, right, who splashes onto the scene with a hot quarterback. And, they did that sort of last year. Mestemaker did with Eric Morris at North Texas. But now if you do it in the Big 12, the whole country's going to be watching. Yeah. And I think Houston also. I think Willie Fritz is beyond special as a head coach. And what they did last year, again, that was a 10-3 season that kind of ho-hum, a little bit like Utah's. So I don't think you can count Houston out because Connor Wegman, there's a reason he was the best quarterback in the country going into Texas A&M, and he's starting to remind us of that. So those are 2 sleepers who I'm keeping an eye on.
Do we always have to watch these Texas teams, and maybe it changes, but I just wonder with TCU and Baylor, and they're not all going to be up at the same time, but there's just so much talent there. So if they have a decent amount of money, could any one of them catch lightning in a bottle?
I love Baylor. I spent a lot of time in Central Texas, and I'm close to a lot of people around the program. But and certainly I think it could be a situation for Baylor where you talk about the athleticism. I think DJ Lagway could be a lot of fun to watch, and I think their ceiling is 7-8 wins. So I don't know that you have to really worry about Baylor. I think TCU could be interesting because it just seems like every couple of years, they have been steadily very good. And Sonny Dykes seems to be in love with Jaden Craig, their new quarterback from Harvard. And Sonny Dykes just says, look, he just wins. So, yeah, you talk about the ball bouncing your way. If the ball bounced their way a couple times last year, that's a team that, would have had a run at the college football playoff. So I think TCU this year, more so than Baylor, is someone to keep an eye on.
The goal here is to get multiple teams into the playoff. We all understand that, and that hasn't happened yet. How much do you think that will be determined upon the success of the big non-conference games that a few of these teams have?
I think it will. determine a lot. I think that the one that, we all have circled is BYU and Notre Dame. And that is going to be, right now, that's the game I'm most excited for in the college football season, period. Because if BYU, this is it. You have a home game against the perennial power, and Notre Dame's going to be really good this year. A lot of times in the past, even last year, BYU on the road at Texas Tech, right, in that game on Saturday afternoon, and then Big 12 championship in Texas. Like, you finally have this game being played at home in Provo. And I heard my ESPN brother and BYU legend, Trevor Maddich, made a great point. He said, this could be, and I remember as a kid watching that game when Ty Detmer and the Cougars beat Miami on national television to open the season. And it was just like, whoa. It's like they grabbed everybody by the lapels early that year and said, we are here. We're the real deal. And, of course, Ty Detmer goes on to win the Heisman Trophy. And that game was played in Provo. Like, that's an opportunity, the game at Notre Dame, for BYU to give the Big 12 two teams in the college football playoff. And really, you don't necessarily have to win that game if you can hold serve throughout the rest of your schedule. You need to keep it close, and obviously you would want to win it. But even if you lose it, if it's like a 3-point game, you still remain in the conversation. If again you hold serve when you're supposed to everywhere else, which is a huge if, as we know, once the ball gets kicked off.
Other top 10 opponents out there: Oklahoma State's going to host Oregon. Arizona State has to go to Texas A&M. There's probably another tier of games: Iowa State, Missouri, Kansas. How many of those can they win, and how much can they move the needle here? Because it feels like the dream could be dead real quick.
Well, look, I think that the good news is nobody's expecting Oklahoma State to beat Oregon, even though that game's going to be at Oklahoma State, and I think that's going to be an amazing environment because Oklahoma State should win Week 1 against Tulsa, and then that is an amazing fan base. They got a ton of resources there. Like, that place, they're bloodthirsty, that program. So that environment in itself should be awesome. The scary ones, like if I'm literally handicapping it with you and I'm being maybe a little negative, saying the dream could be dead already, and my heart's breaking over here. I would say that Utah-Arkansas is one that's kind of scary, right? Because Arkansas is they're Arkansas. They stunk last year, but they've got SEC athletes, and they come on the road. They're upset that that's a night game. There's all kinds of, there's a chip on your shoulder, nobody believes in us attitude that you really don't want an SEC opponent coming into your stadium with. So they've got to win games like that, right? They cannot lose games like that. And you mentioned, Kansas needs to beat Missouri, right? They almost beat them last year. They need to beat Missouri. I don't expect Arizona State to win Texas A&M, but you just got to win the games you're supposed to win, and then you get a big one like BYU over Notre Dame, and then we're talking. But I am with you in a sense where, you sort of have to prove to me that you can do it before I'm like, oh, they're going to do it. So I would like to see the Big 12 show me that they can get two teams in this college football playoff, right?
Well, we'd all like to see them show that, and then we'd like one of them to be one of our teams. And both would be great, but that seems pretty greedy, and Texas Tech seems to be lined up pretty well. So we'll see how it plays out. Pete, as always, we love having you come on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Guys, you do an amazing job. Getting ready for these two games, I've been listening to a lot of you guys, and it's a total delight. So I look forward to the next time, and I appreciate you having me on.
Pete Sousa, Inside the Big 12 and the Pete Sousa Show. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Would you go halfway around the world chasing wins, PK? The answer to that is clearly yes. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty and the Coach Tuesday from 10 to 2 at My Hearing Centers, 8941 South, 700 East. DJ and PK, question up on our Facebook page. There's a photo. Lowry Markkanen. Got Keontae George on his left. Ryan Smith on his right. Next to Ryan, the coach Will Hardy. Next to him, Jaron Jackson. Next to him, somebody's cut off. You can only see his arm.
I didn't know who he was, so I cut him off.
Okay. Traveled all the way to Finland to work out with Lowry Markkanen. Are they building something special? special.
I think so, man. When you think about it, these guys are all tall. Even Keontae, by average American male, is
walking
tall.
down the street.
And you got Jaren Jackson's way tall. And to think that those guys, and Will Hardy's tall for that matter, that they squeezed themselves into a coach seat and flew over to Finland. That's pretty impressive.
On the list of things they probably didn't do, squeezing into a coach seat.
You don't think so?
Seems unlikely.
Oh, so they've got the exit aisle?
Yeah, that's what it is. What a big, strong people in the event of emergency. They can rip that door off its hinges and guide everyone to safety.
Right. You don't want an old fogey like me there.
No.
We'd all die.
Exactly. I can't get it open. Well, pull the
Go
handle.
the other way.
Jonathan, this is the current NBA trend. The Lakers are in Slovenia. The T-Wolves and Spurs are in Paris. I like it, but I don't think it's some great sign.
Oh, what a downer.
Keeping up with the Joneses. Got to go to Europe and bond. Now, they did this before. They went to Dallas and bonded. They went to Keontae, hosted everybody last summer. We heard a lot about that. Now it's
Devin Dampier paid for all the offensive guys to go to Phoenix in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about, man. Go to Lowry over there. I think it's a promising sign. I won't dismiss it, nor will I act like, oh, man.
They got it now.
Yeah. But I think it's a promising sign that your nucleus, particularly for Jaren Jackson, buying in immediately. I mean, when the schedule came out, I think he tweeted out something like buy ticks, get ticks or something like that. And he's only been here. The other guys have been here for a while. They're ready to win. George and Lowry have been here combined, 7 years? They're ready to win. They want to win.
They don't have a chip on their shoulder by now.
Yeah. And so get an opportunity with Jaren Jackson out there, they're all new to each other in a sense. There's so much newness and such it's a turn the page, new beginning, fresh approach type deal. Everything that happened before doesn't matter. It's what you do from this point on. And there is a level of excitement, certainly on the heels of 4 consecutive losing seasons that we haven't had. I'm excited. I mean, I don't want to wish away between now and the start of the basketball season because I want to enjoy the start of the football season for the colleges and the NFL. And I know you eyeballed deep in the high school thing, and that's been going on here for a couple of weeks. And so enjoy those. And when it gets here, I'll be ready for it. But at this point, I do feel there's a level of excitement there that is welcomed. There's no doubt about it. It's something that we all want. We all want this team to win and play competitive ball.
It's way more fun when they do that than when they head to the lottery again, and we've seen enough of both of them. We don't really have to debate that.
Right.
I've felt the pain.
And then plus two, the level of intrigue is really something that doesn't happen to this franchise very often. And you go back to the statues, I mean, you knew what you were going to get for so many years. And that was good. And that was the consistency and the model of it was awesome. And now, what are we going to have here? What exactly do we have? What do we have in the youngsters and Peterson and Bailey, right? We're not really sure. Expectation, hopeful, all that stuff, sure. But we're still not sure. George, how real was it? What can you do on a winning team? We know you can put up points on a losing team. Mm-hmm. You've proven that. That's a fact. But how are you going to blend in and with all the other stuff? And Jackson, you're a very good player. I actually think marketing, to me, is the most intriguing. And if he plays like I believe he's capable of playing, I think he can be a top 15 player in this league. Certainly a top 20. Because the guy has enormous skill set. And I'm a little biased toward him because I'd heard about him as an international player. Mm-hmm. And with Hano being there, and I covered him for the Utes way back when, and him being like the ambassador of Finnish basketball, basically. You know, there was a lot of talk that marketing was coming to Utah.
There was a ton of talk, and then at the last second, it all got quiet.
And
he went to Arizona.
And we know what happened there. And but still, he still stayed in a conference that I was following religiously, obviously. And so I got to see him play a lot. And I think he's wildly skilled. And he has an opportunity now to be unleashed and really just set the tone for what the next 5 years is going to be for you in the NBA because I believe in his skill set, and I believe he can be the most talented player for the next 3 to 4 years on this team.
There's tons of unknowns about the team. I think there'll be major personnel moves going forward. I don't think this group will – a core of this group can stay, but the whole group is going to change. I think we just saw it with Kessler. I would have thought the odds are, okay, he's going to be in this group for a while, and then the Jackson trade happens and the money's drying up. It's going to be a tight squeeze, and all of a sudden he's gone. I think there'll be more of that. Can they find the core? I think the question with Lowry, there's just very little question about his ability to shoot the ball. And it's the most important thing. That's what they give you the points for. But nonetheless, you got to be able to rebound. You got to be able to play defense. How big an impact is he going to have in other areas of the game? And maybe he's the guy, and he's taking so many shots, and he's hitting so many shots, everybody else can do the dirty work. Don't tend to like that thought. How many teams really succeed with that? We'd probably find some examples. But on the whole, you need guys to be able to do a couple of things. And sure, to be in the league, you've got to have one skill that's really, and he's got it, and it's shooting. But if we're talking about getting to the playoffs, advancing when you're in the playoffs, getting back to a conference final for the first time, they're not quite to 20 years, but they're coming up on it. What else is he going to do? And I think that's the question. Because your point, is he ridiculously skilled? Yes. Is he a big guy? He can shoot it? Absolutely. And it is really hard to keep him from getting the shot off because he's so big and he shoots over so many people. But if they're really going to do what we want them to do, they got to be able to rebound. They got to be able to defend a little bit. How much will he contribute there?
Well, everybody's got to be able to do that.
Everybody does. Absolutely.
I mean, it's not on him individually. That's for everybody, every year, every team. You want to be great, and here's what you need to do. Formulas are there. And so what can you do there? I think this has a chance to be the core, though, for the next 3 to 4 years, if it's good enough.
Which three do you view as the core?
I view the 5 as the core. Peterson, Bailey, George, Jackson, and Markkanen.
I feel like at least one and maybe two of those guys will have to be moved. If either they won't be the core because they're not good enough, or if they're good enough, then they can't pay everybody. And so either way, the thing has to evolve.
Well, yeah, that's what I said, 3 to 4 years, though. I mean, Bailey and Peterson can't go anywhere.
That will help.
George is the next guy.
Yeah, that'll help them. They're locked into rookie deals.
Yeah. And so the cap will go up. Yeah, I think the core's here. I don't know that they can get better than these guys, and you can fill in the blanks with these other guys, whoever they might be, bench guys who play a vital role, but I think they're out there to be had going forward. So, yeah, I'm super excited about what they've got and what is the possibility for them to do what they can do. Absolutely, yeah. And away we go. And I like to see it over there. There's nothing wrong with building camaraderie. You know, it's not going to be the be-all, but why not have it? And these guys wanting to go over there, I don't know. I would assume that they hadn't been to Finland. Sounds like a pretty good place to go in the summer. Don't know I want to go in the winter.
But maybe not so much.
But it's the summer right now, and see something new, especially, and you don't have to pay for it. You get a free trip. Yeah, I'd be all over it. Absolutely. And I don't know their family situation. I don't know that Keontae has little kids running around, and so he could go and be away and all that stuff. And that's awesome. And, yeah, and he's an American, so I get that the foreign guys want to go back and spend a fair amount of time. And I know he has, Markkanen has the national team stuff, but they want to be where they're from because they don't get to be there very often. At a certain time of year. Well, it's the other way around for the Americans. You're here all the time, so you get that and get to play with each other, and that must mean that whatever situation was, I forgot what Jackson what the situation was why he didn't play. I mean, I know they didn't want him to play, but he had some medical thing. I don't remember what it was, but that would mean that he's healthy and he's moving around and the guy's a veteran in the league, too. He's still young, but he's a veteran in the league. And, I think he knows, well, okay, he didn't have to he didn't rebound well. Well, how much of that was because they had other guys? They had a Steven Adams or somebody else who might have been on that team. I'd have to go double-check that he was actually on the team. But they have guys like that who that's their job. So, well, now here, depending on what they do with the 5 guys and the lack of a true starting center, that he may have to play that. So the point being that he can increase his rebounding because it'll be asked of him to do more. And then you got guys like Ace Bailey, who's 6'9", and he can do more. Darren Peterson is a fairly big kid too.
It does fall to more players in this era because they're taking threes and the ball, they're going to be long rebounds going in crazy directions. So it's not necessarily about having somebody getting 12 boards a game. If you have a lot of people getting 5 or 6 boards a game, everybody chasing down those missed threes, it can fall on everybody.
Right. And the thing about it is it's going to develop from within. These guys will decide how good they are. Those 5 guys and a couple guys coming off the bench and what they would do with Nurkic and all that. So what are these guys going to do? It's like, okay, fellas.
You got to carry most of the load.
Do you want to have a winning team here? Because we want you to have a winning team, speaking from ownership and management, and we are going to provide you with what you need to have a winning team.
Bruce, maybe a winning team for once. Yeah, they better have a winning record. Now to what level? And Earl says they'll compete hard in the first round of the playoffs. They might even win it. They will not win in the second round. Is that special? It's a big improvement from last year, but no, it's not special.
Well, special doesn't happen overnight.
Maybe in their second year they'll win in the second round. I sure hope so.
Okay.
Earl finishes his thought.
I'll take that.
Yes. That's Warriors territory. Go to the second round, get beat, and then turn around and win a championship.
Oh, I think that's a lot of territory.
Accelerate right through it.
So you have all that nucleus that we just mentioned, those 5 guys, maybe Markin, and I have to double check, none of them would be 30.
I think Markkanen would, but you're right about the rest of them.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of runway here. There's a lot of career left. It's not like they're up against it with 34-year-olds and you're thinking, oh, they're going to fall off big time next year.
Right.
And Markkanen's, they've expanded his game and all that. But, man, when your number one thing is catch and shoot, that you're not going to lose that. You're going to be able to do that when you're 50, 60 years old.
As long as you have your health.
Yep.
And you have your legs and all that. And there's no reason why that is going to go away, barring some catastrophic knock-on-wood type of injury that doesn't happen, that he should be able to do those things for 5 years. For the next 5 years, he should be able to. There's plenty of guys in their early 30s who rock it in this league if they take care of themselves and do what they're supposed to do, and there's no indication that wouldn't happen. So with that in mind, that this thing, I want to see where this goes. And who knows where it can go. I'm not going to say it can't go or it can go. I want to see where it can go. And that's going to be the fascinating part of it, is that we all get to see it. It'd be like for those folks that are around in the 80s when they had the draft picks of the statues and Thurl. Where can it go? Went to pretty high levels for many, many years. And can this be a reincarnation? Doesn't seem like players stay around like that to the length that they used to. I understand that. But let's just go to 3 to 4 years. See where it's at. Where can it top off at? And having these guys get together in a foreign country and these guys want to be loved too, every little thing that they're used to being, you could say babied or pampered or what have you, so be it. But that's the nature of the business now. You got to show them love. And to have these 2 other guys who are clearly a core or part of the core. And maybe for now, those 3 guys are the core because the other 2 guys are so young that we're going to rely on them while the other 2 guys develop.
Yeah.
And then by the time we get to the turn of the decade, maybe those guys then would be able to take over, which even bodes even better because you don't want something, a flash in the pan, 2 to 3 years, boom, it's gone. You want something that is going to keep improving, so by the time you get to 2030, you're still looking at an extended run. And if they can pull off a 7-8 year run of success during the regular season and in the postseason to what level remains to be seen, but have success in the postseason, then you can look back and say, okay, those 4 years are worth it.
It's a scenario where it's even better than that. I mean, you went 7 or 8 years, but if that baton gets passed, then they fulfilled what Jay-Z was talking about when he said we want to open a championship contending window and keep it open.
Yeah, but there'd be too many new faces to go beyond that.
If they have the two key pieces, anchor
you
pieces,
still need other pieces, and I wouldn't have any idea where
they'll have to cycle through that.
Right.
But the hardest thing is to get the stars, and if they have these guys for 10, 12, 15 years, that'd be great. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah, I can't attach stardom on either of these players just yet.
Not until they can rent a car.
I want to see, well, maybe that
or you put stardom on them at 22 or 23, maybe.
They can buy the dealership.
You can rent a car because I own the dealership.
Yeah.
I don't need to rent a car. Just give me that car with the dealer plates.
Right. They can own the friggin' thing the way they're going. Yeah, so that's a possibility, too. So that's stuff that I want to see. But I thought it was cool that they did it and that they wanted to do it. Maybe don't need to see the owner working out with them, but that's part of the fun that he gets to do. I don't really care about that one way or the other. If he sat on a chair on the sideline or if he ran lines with them, if he wants to do that, so be it. But that doesn't float my boat either way because he's not going to be playing, so I don't really care about that.
You know, the only thing about the owner, and I hadn't really thought of this until someone commented on here, and it's relatively new, so I guess everyone can have their theory right now. Greg here says, in this environment where private equity firms are buying into teams, you're going to see more and more the focus being on extracting maximum revenue. Building a championship will not be a goal. Having a super fan of the team who has the money to support it could be a big deal going forward, and I think the Lakers are about to learn that.
About to learn what?
That having private equity-minded people who are looking at building value and making money, extracting maximum revenue. Basically saying they're going to be, with this private equity, that they're not going to be super fans chasing championships like...
No, I disagree.
You think they're going to go for it?
Yeah, because that's what gives you stuff that can't be bought. I can go turn a building and make a profit. But that's a business transaction. That does not get your endorphins going.
Maybe Bob Iger's tired of that after 50 years of running movies and parks with Disney. He needs something different.
Yeah. And I've seen literally grown men cry over this. I was in the locker room when Reinsdorf won his first title with the Chicago Bulls.
Now, there's a guy who's been extracting value.
Yeah.
And the White Sox did eventually win a World Series.
And Jerry Krause sobbing like a baby. I saw that with my own eyes.
Did Reinsdorf? Because it'd be coming down to the owner.
Yeah. And the joy that was on their faces, that you can't get that over some transaction.
We opened a new park. Not gonna, yeah.
Right.
We opened our fourth park.
I don't see that, man, and I could be wrong.
Well, no, pretty quick. I mean, Ballmer's. You don't have to be private equity to extract value, right?
Right.
Ballmer built up a $20 billion net worth and then spent a couple billion on the Clippers, and people thought he overpaid. But then you look how much joy he gets game in and game out, sitting on the baseline, pumping his fist after every three-point play.
He's a fan.
And so that's something he's not getting in his other business endeavors.
No.
And so now he throws down more money on building an arena, possibly throws down more money on circumventing the salary cap, still debated.
That's not debated. They said that was clear.
Well, the NBA didn't say it.
They didn't?
The NBA's punishing him for the salary cap. I think they're saying it's not clear. I think they're saying it happened, but that he didn't know about it or do it. I mean, clearly Kawhi got a lot of money. No one's debating that. A lot more money.
Whatever.
I know. And I guess the Knicks were one where, it's like even the crazy owner doesn't know what he's doing and who gets lit up by the fan base forever, and they won a title.
Yeah. Right. That's what it's about, man. I'm not worried about that. That sounds good. He thought he was making a clever point and something that hasn't been discussed, but I don't buy it.
And even if one of those owners does it, maybe another one won't. So what does it matter? There's always one owner running things into the ground. The Kings have had a bunch of wealthy people. The Wizards have a bunch of wealthy people. They were staggering around. All right, we'll take a break. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, working on a guest on this topic, top of the hour. We'll see.
He's already confirmed it, man.
You already got it?
Phone.
Locked in? Big T will be here at the top of the hour. Stay with us right here in the zone.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Swing and a fly ball. Center field. It's got a chance. Church back out of room. Yes. And it's over. Yeah. It's over. Kyle Schwarber with a walk-off home run into the hedges in dead center field. And the Phillies have absolutely stunned the Cardinals 6-4 with 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
The Chevy Strong play of the weekend right there. Kyle Schwarber capping that 6-run 9th inning. His walk-off homer. Phillies beat the Cards with an impressive lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs. It's no wonder that people are switching to Chevy. Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers, America's fastest-growing full-line brand. Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. Know that play. Kyle Schwarber's homer, the walk-off shot. And today, after 2 o'clock, Jake and Ben will call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. Well, PK, you are back from vacation, Southern California, the sun, the surf, the sand, and hanging out with a former player from Utah.
Yeah, how about that? We went to Uncle Bill's. For those of you in Manhattan Beach, that's a big breakfast place and has a nice view of the water up top there off of Highland, and it's always crowded. And so we were there on a Wednesday, and a former Ute came by with 6 other members. They're all members of the Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers. My new team.
Because you broke bread with them.
The Chargers?
Yeah. Several of them. Did you see him walk by? You have a chance to interact? Or,
oh, yeah. Absolutely walked by.
So who was it?
It was... Drum roll, please. That's a long drum roll, I got to admit. Very nice.
Thank you.
Lander Barton.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I bet you did chat him up.
So we're sitting there. We're at a table for 2.
Did he want to talk to you, or did he want to talk to his former teacher?
Oh, he went right to her.
Yeah.
He didn't see us because we're sitting down, and he's walking. And I look up, I said, oh, that's Lander Barton. So my wife taught him for 2 years. And turned around, and she said, hey, Lander. And she got up, and he gave her very respectful. He's always been very respectful. A nice hug, and chatted him up a little bit. And I think the other guys were thinking that maybe, it's some fan. But I said to him, and there were 6 of them there, counting Lander would be the 7th. I said, that's his junior high teacher. And once I said that, like immediate respect. Like, whoa.
Totally changed the mood.
Yes, this isn't some fan.
This is some rando.
Gawking an autograph. This is a personal relationship that they had when this kid was 12 years old. And you see their faces. Whoa. That is really cool. Yeah. And it's obvious the way he hugged her, the respect that he has for her. Funny enough, that's the second time we saw him in Manhattan Beach. We saw him years ago we're checking in the hotel, and his sister, who's a big volleyball player, was playing in one of the beach volleyball tournaments, and he was a youngster, and he was checking in, I think it was with his mom, and he looked at my wife and said, "What are you doing here?" And she looked at him and said, "What are you doing here?" And so I talked to him for a little bit. He says it's been going well. They had a game that the next night. He had told me that they were that had joint practices with the 49ers. He's an undrafted guy, so it's a long shot to an extent. But undrafted guys regularly make the NFL team, if not that, the practice squad. So number 57, and we watched the second half of the game the next night. I was at a place, Hennessy's over in Redondo, with a friend of mine that I used to work with when I worked at the Breeze, and the game was on. And it's funny because we see him play. Oh, there's number 57. Oh, my wife's been watching him on TV for 4 years, but somehow with the Charger uniform. And wish him well. Hopefully, very much want him to make the team and see what happens there, as we do all the local kids, whoever they may be. So it's kind of fun seeing him, and sent that picture off to a certain Michigan coach and said, "Hey, you guys are still out there trying to do their thing." Obviously, Kyle knows the Barton family very well. All three of them played football for Utah, but a great family that had contributed a lot to the program. And the mom, obviously, well, the parents were U of U athletes too.
Parents, yeah.
Yeah. I miss seeing Paul. I used to see him at airports, road trips, home games, what have you, afterward up on 4th South, where they would wait for the players. And that went on for a long time, but that era has come to an end, as everything does in this world.
Time passes.
Yeah. But it was fun being there. And he was a local kid out in our area, obviously. I saw him play in high school many times.
Brighton High.
Yeah.
Well, you at least saw him play the first half. Did you have to be there for halftime performances?
That was one of the reasons why I went. Yeah.
The band.
Yeah.
Kid in the band. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But we usually got there in time to watch the game.
Yeah.
And watch him play. Played receiver and linebacker, obviously. And there's been local kids in the neighborhood that would watch. My neighbor played. We were watching the game the other day. It was the Hall of Fame game. Mm-hmm. Turned it on, and Simi Fehoko caught a touchdown pass.
Another Brighton kid, Stanford kid.
Yeah. And another Albion kid who my wife had in school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, DJ and PK, we'll take a break. When we come back, Big T, Thurl, Bailey. Stick around. We'll talk Jazz, foreign trips, roster building, and he's got an event coming up. That's next. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, and we're joined by Big T, Thurl Bailey, former Jazz man, now Jazz broadcaster. Thurl, good morning.
What's up? Always a pleasure to get you guys in the morning.
Well, we've got to talk to you. You've got an event coming up, but first we wanted to talk to you. I was curious. These teams, there's so many teams going overseas now. I can't even keep track. The Spurs, the Wolves, the Jazz, everybody going to work out in Finland with Markkanen, if not everybody, a big chunk of the team. The Lakers with Luka taking everybody overseas. And in your day, didn't everybody just go to L.A. and play pickup games and let Magic ref and play at the same time? Wasn't that about it?
Yeah, pretty much. I love seeing it, though. I love seeing the culture that's being created, for me specifically with the Jazz guys committing. I mean, I think last year was Keontae getting a group of guys together. And but, back in our day, it was sometimes wherever you could create a good run in the summertime. But it's probably part vacation, but, a lot of work, a working vacation, if you will, because those are some amazing places they're going to spend that time. But, salaries are bigger too. So, you could do that a lot easier.
Right, and maybe there wasn't as many foreign players as there are now, or certainly not as many.
That's true.
Guys who are really good foreign players. Used to be they were kind of bench guys, maybe could shoot, but now, I mean, in a lot of different sports, we're seeing that in the Major League Baseball. These guys who come over from Japan or wherever, I mean, they're stars, obviously. From your perspective, you played 4 years in college. And then went into the NBA. You got a couple of young guys, and even Conte can be in this category too, as far as being young from that perspective. How much better did you get in the summer that you were able to do through those workouts? So when you come back and your game is that much more advanced.
Well, I still considered myself, even out of college, like a late bloomer. It was an older man's league back then, PK, and you look at the league now. It really is a young league that is developing young players every single year. But the summers to me they were probably the most important time for my career. I came in underweight. It was a physical league. Things that, you can't even get close to doing physically on the court now. You can't get away with it, but that's what the league was back then. So you had to prepare for it. I wasn't quite prepared. I was more finesse coming in and got a little more physical as I got older in this league and more experienced. But the summertime was when I put that work in. And even though it's not that long, it's only a few months, right? It's only so you take a couple of weeks off or so, and you're right back to work after the season. Especially because with the Jazz we made the playoffs, so we got deeper into the playoffs, But yeah, you put that work in, especially if you wanted to go back in shape and not let training camp try to get you in shape. But yeah, it's a lot different framework now as well. I don't think the preseason's as long as we had back then, and maybe training camp isn't as long either.
Yeah, shortening preseason's a good thing. Shorten it some more.
Why?
Because it doesn't mean anything. Because guys sit. Just get on with it. I could argue the last 4 years you've called a lot of preseason type games in February, March, and April. But we don't need to bring up those memories. Just let that go. On to bigger and better things.
I feel what you're feeling, but there's always a significance, especially nowadays. I think when you're talking about trying to get that chemistry together before the real deal. And I don't know. I mean, it's a different approach this year. So I think there's going to be a little more meaning in preseason with the Jazz maybe than the past few years, because you're still trying to sort out some things. Who's going to win some minutes? Who's going to look good in preseason that will play a lot of minutes? So I think to the players, it does have a little more meaning than to those those radio broadcasters on the outside.
Yeah, I would think too. Even these three guys here that did their thing here in the last week or so in Finland, that I don't blow it off. To me, everything is important, and you got to do all this, particularly when there's so much newness on this team with guys trying to figure out how to play with one another. And I would even say, Thurl, into when they get into town here in the next couple weeks and they have informal workouts over at the practice site in September, that the idea is when the games start in October, that's not – I mean, you're going to still find out stuff about everybody, how they mesh together, but why not get a head start 6 weeks before, so you have a better chance to hit the ground running, more so when we start keeping score and records are kept?
Yeah, I mean, that's facts. I think internally there's always a reason and an importance to everything that goes on leading up to, when the fans start coming into the arena, when it all counts. But eventually decisions have to be made on who's going to stay, who's going to stick, who's going to get time, who's going to be that core 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe 9th guy. So yeah, I mean, it all has its importance in the scheme of things. But, players are, the two best, most in-shape players when I played with Carl and John. It was a competition. And if you were a part of that team or wanted to be a part of that team, you knew that those two were going to come in kicking your butt in training camp and in shape. So if you weren't in shape, it stood out, right? Because, you know, you didn't prepare
Greg Ostertag.
like you were supposed to. so the fact that these guys are getting with each other early, it means a lot. It means, you know, some of your best players, your leaders, are the guys who are going to come in ready to play day one.
I know there's a lot of talk about who comes off the bench and who starts. It's important, and that can all be such. I'm really interested in who finishes games because I know they want to play young guys and bring them along, but they need to win now. And so winning means who are the best five tonight, right now, in the last 5 minutes of this game to get the W. Do you have any sense who that can be, or how many of those five are you confident in? How many of those are you like, well, I think I know who the guy's going to be? And how many of the spots are like, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do for that spot. They got to figure it out. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I really don't know who it's going to be. I mean, I think we can throw out names. You know, we can throw out the Bryce Sensabaugh and, you know, and other guys who will probably play a specific role, whether it's defensively. But I made a career out of that. I made a career out of embracing a role that was a non-starting role, knowing for the most part that I was going to earn what people call starter minutes. But it wasn't important. It wasn't that important to me about starting as much as what you said, DJ, who finishes. And so in today's league, those bench numbers are so important, not just the scoring numbers, but especially the defensive side and guys who can come in and get stops and keep the game, you know, at a high pace and leave it better than you found it when you win the game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm interested, too, to see how that roster kind of shapes out as we get closer. I can look at that roster and say, okay, you know, I think here's a guy like a Bryce Sensabaugh or a Collier, you know, who can come in and help finish games and not just get starters rest.
We look at Jaren Jackson, right? We're excited for him to see what he can do, right? He's got a pedigree. Pop's played in the NBA, and he's been around. He's still a young guy, but he's been around for a number of years. And you look at him, okay, he can score, he can defend. His rebound numbers have not been great for somebody his size. But what do you think about him as far as Will Hardy saying, hey, we need you to get to the glass more and being able to do that? Because if they can rebound collectively, then they've got a shot, obviously, to be a pretty good team.
I think Tripp's ready to do what's asked of him. And I think what I noticed early on was that he's looking for a different culture. He's found it. He's found, I think, a place where, you know, he has a great culture on the team around guys that he's enjoying being around, and he's ready to win. He's ready to win. So I think a young man like that who has, you know, more all-star careers and accolades ahead of him is willing to go out and work harder getting rebounds. I think it's going to be a necessity for him, especially when you're lacking a rim protector with Walker gone. Other guys are going to have to compensate as the Jazz try to figure that piece out. But Tripp is a guy who I think we know what he's capable of. Now it's about this particular scenario with the Jazz, where he fits in, how he's going to mesh on the offensive end, playing with Lowry and Keontae and the crew. But, yeah, I think he's, first of all, in a really good place where the culture is going to help him go out and bring a lot of those numbers up.
Big T, Thurl Bailey joining us right here on the Zone. Any of these, we haven't talked to you with all these off-season moves. Anything really catch your eye? Anything you think that's absolutely not going to work, or that really has a good chance of working, or that's completely overrated? I don't see how Miami with Giannis is suddenly going to be a power in the East.
Well, Giannis is definitely going to help change the game. Obviously, it was time for him. LeBron. To Philly, I think it's more. I mean, look, I think he still has some in the tank, but he's not going to be. He's going to be a role player. He's going to be a guy who is a morale booster because he's on the team. I think he's good enough that he's going to make a difference, but I don't know if it's enough of a difference to take them to a championship yet. So, am I saying it's overrated? No, because I think he's still got something that can be a huge, huge help. But I'm not sure it's going to make that big of a difference. I think Jaylen Brown's probably the biggest.
How do you think they compensate is the word I'm looking for. Compensate the loss of Kessler.
I think when you have to think long term if you're the Jazz. I think you may have enough. Rim protection is paramount in this league as far as playing against some of the best guys who get to the rim. Guys who like to go to the rim, look and see who's in there. Like, for Wemby's inside, they're more reluctant to. Even Walker Kessler, when he was here, I mean, he was starting to become that guy who you had to think about whether you were going to challenge or not because you knew he had the unique ability to protect the rim. So I'm not sure. Those guys are hard to come by, those type of, foundational defensive players who can protect the rim. I think you've got some pieces that can be good collectively. So it's going to have to be by committee for the Jazz, I think. And so it also depends on the matchups, who you're playing that particular night. But yeah, I mean, was it a void? Yeah, of course it was. I think, Walker was starting to establish himself as somebody in the league who could be one of the best rim protectors. But, you've got other guys. It's more than about blocking shots, right? It's about on-ball defenders and not letting guys get by you so you don't have to rely on your big. I think Nurk is going to bring a lot with his size on the rebounding side in particular. And he's shown, I think, some flashes that, he could be a better rim protector as well. So, that's something the Jazz would definitely have to figure out in the long term. I'm not sure there's a quick solution that compensates for the void of Walker Kessler this season.
Right.
Big T, Thurl Bailey joining us. Big T, you got an event coming up. You've done this before. You clearly like this. You can walk away from this if you wanted.
No, I love it, man. I love street ball. I think there was a time when it was kind of starting to fade a little bit, but the younger generation now, they're getting a taste of being able to play outside and show their skills. And even some of the older guys like us, we want to continue to fulfill those dreams. I've seen you on the basketball court, DJ, and that jump shot of yours. Oh, I'm serious. Oh, I'm kind of serious. I'm not sure if you're still.
I retired.
I'm not sure if you're still balling or not.
I retired. It's over.
You did?
I'm protecting the Achilles.
Yeah, I know what the body says, but the mind says I can still take you.
Oh yeah, the mind. I'm rising up over you and just throwing it down on your skull. In my mind.
Well, that's kind of what Jam Fest is all about.
Right.
But it's happening this Saturday, man, on the Sandy Promenade, just north of the Southtown Mall, outdoors. It's called Jam Fest because there's a lot more than basketball going on. We've got kids from 8 to 18, boys and girls. We've got adults, men and women coming out and bringing their teams. They can go to jamfestutah.com. As a matter of fact, if they go to Big T Bailey on Instagram, we're giving away some prizes. And some Jazz tickets are in the mix. So we're expecting a big crowd. got a lot of great shade down there, so bring your lawn chairs. A lot of great sponsors. SME Steel is our presenting sponsor, but we've got a lot of good things going on all day Saturday. So we're excited about it.
I can remember several years back playing in some type of event at the Delta Center, and Tony Parks took you baseline, and you weren't having any of it, and you put it in the 10th row.
Yeah, well, again, that was I was one trying to teach
Tony
TP
a lesson. Tony a lesson.
Yeah.
Respect your elders.
I smacked it into the stands and told him to go get it.
I wasn't sure if you thought it was actually a player or a fly that was on your knee.
Oh man! So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun this weekend. We still have opportunity for teams to sign up on JamFest Utah. We got contests, 3-point contest, a dunk contest, 1v1 King of the Court. That's a good one for you, PK.
I retired earlier than DJ did.
I was playing in a some charity game. I can't remember. It was at Slick on their where the summer league used to be in there in Taylorsville. And Ron Boone was the celebrity coach, and it was when I was doing radio with him. And I missed a free throw. It was flat. And he said, bend your knees. I did, and I made the second free throw. And it came out, and he was still giving it to me. Booner, why don't you just go out there and show people how it's done? I mean, even if you've lost 80% of your game, your 20% is still 80% more than everybody else. He's like, damn right it is. You know Booner, right? You're damn right it is. He said, he got serious. He said, but I was in one of these games, and I saw some 50-year-old guy tear his Achilles, and I thought, when I get to 50, I'm done. I'm done. And that was in the first quarter. And in the fourth quarter, a guy who, white hair, comb over, had to be 60. And you knew he knew how to play. He just wasn't moving as well. But he's in a 2-3 zone. He goes to close out on a guy in the corner, goes down like he shot. And I lean out to see what happened. Booner leans the other way, looks at me away from the corner because he's sitting between me and the corner. He says, told you. That made such an impression on me. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. I've already rehabbed an ACL once when I was in my 20s. I don't need to do that. So it's over. I'll make way for the younger generation. They can have my court and go at it. Good times.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. We got all age groups out there, and some of these MVPs of the church league are coming out. To want to continue their careers. So we're going to have a lot of fun, man. Okay. I'll be there all day long, and we've got refueling and cooling tents, so there's going to be plenty of water, and it should be great weather as well.
All right, we'll talk to you, Big T. Give them the website one more time so they can go sign up.
JamFestUtah.com.
Pretty straightforward. There it is. All right, thanks for coming on, Thurl. We appreciate it. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you, too.
Big T, Thurl Bailey. We're taking a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
For all of you less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Ready Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 1-855-Trajan1. 1-855-Trajan1. Or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Football, PK, we're getting so close. It's tempting. Tons of injury news. Guys who are hurt. Guys who maybe aren't hurt as badly as we thought they were. Raiders running back Ashton Jonte believed to have a sprained ankle. There were big-time fears. Got real quiet. Apparently, Raider practice, he left. Couldn't put any weight on it. And I know you're all about
Fernando Mania.
There it is. But Fernando could use a little running game as a threat, couldn't he?
Those guys are interchangeable. I'm just kidding. Gente's a really good player. Obviously, we saw him at Boise do his thing, and he's a high pick. That's just going to help whoever, whether it's Cousins or I think at some point, obviously, Mendoza's going to get an opportunity to play this season. I would think I wouldn't see any reason to sit him the whole year. At least mop-up duty somehow, something will break for his way to get in the game. But having Gente as a running back is you want all your guys. And the Raiders need to get going a little bit here. the shine has long since gone off of them moving to Vegas and blah, blah, blah. You got to start winning. You can't win 3 or 4 ball games.
And be taken seriously.
Right.
Not happening.
Because there's no excuse for it.
They've got Dolphins, Chargers, Saints right out of the gate, so I would think if you're going to play a rookie, that's a good time to play him. Those are some winnable games, and Miami is probably one of the 5 worst teams in the league.
Don't be sleeping on the Chargers.
That's the tough one in there, but you just don't get 3 easy games in a row. The Chargers are probably a playoff team. The Saints, probably not a playoff team, but in that division, you never know. Maybe they're the breakout team this year. But to me, that seems a doable stretch. I mean, you got to be careful. Some people would say, well, like, give them a month, maybe some mop-up duty, and after a month, break them in. Yeah, well, after a month, if you break them in, you're at the Patriots, home to the Bills, home to the Rams. That's
we'll see how it goes.
Stretch. Yeah.
If Cousins comes in and they give him the starting job and they're 3-1, you roll with it. I mean, this is, Mendoza's going to have to earn his time on the field. It's not just going to be given to him just because of what he did in college and his status as the number 1 pick. Let's see what Cousins can do here. But obviously, it looks like that they would have Mendoza as the number 1 guy going forward in the years to come. Now, hopefully for them, that's the case, because if it's not, then they just wasted a number 1 pick.
College football, K.J. Jackson will start at quarterback for Arkansas in the opener. Presumably, that means he'll start week 2 against the University of Utah up on the hill.
Well, he's been around for a while, K.J. Jackson. If it's the same K.J. Jackson, which I believe it is. So let's see what he can do here. Who knows what to think about Arkansas? I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think about them. When we get to that point in the week, we'll certainly be focused on them and all of our locals at that point. I mean, I get it. It's an SEC team, but just because you're an SEC team, Florida came in here, they
had problems snapping the ball without a flag, gave up a long touchdown pass on the first play of the game.
Money Parks. The pig farmer to Money Parks.
Yeah. Deep.
Was in the press box. Remember it well.
Electric.
Ludwig taking a shot right off the bat. So let's, just because they're that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're great. KJ Jackson, and what can he do? He's a big kid. Has got athletic ability, and we'll see. See what's up, what they can do.
KJ Jackson in his 3rd year had the red shirt. Had the freshman year, and now he'll go. He's played a half dozen games, so he's the future for Arkansas, as far as you can see the future these days in college football.
Well, he's been in the program for a good while.
Alabama named Keelan Russell their starting quarterback, so it's that time of year. Missouri without Ahmad Hardy in the season opener.
I don't know what they're going to do without Ahmad Hardy.
Go 8-4?
It'll be very difficult.
Daquan White to be waived by the Browns, set to go back to college football and join LSU. We were laughing about guys from G League to the NBA last year, and here we go, PK. The logical next step.
I want to see a guy get the Conference Player of the Week and then go play for another college team that season, or an NFL player make some big-time play, special teams or what have you, and then go play in college that season. Yeah.
Make a big play on Monday Night Football, and then the next Saturday.
That might be too quick of a turnaround.
Be on the field in the swamp.
Yeah. I mean, what is next? It's just breaking all rules of logic here. That there are nothing, and once they do the official 5-year thing, that takes away from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. That doesn't work anymore. What are you? You're in your first year? Your second year?
Yeah, I think we'll just have to use numbers.
Which is just
words for them.
Great. Because I always thought it was just phony baloney about them acting like these kids weren't here to play football or whatever sport it might be. And no, they were there because of the engineering. B freaking S. Now, this just further puts it out there that that's not the case. And I never had any problem with that. They were going to the particular school to play whatever sport they were in, by large. But there's some, obviously, that were way into the academics. And now all that stuff is out the window. You're going to be a second-year player, just like you're a second-year player in the pros. Yeah.
We use the phrase sophomore slump in the pros, and we never reference it again. Rookie, sophomore slump, that's it. Third year, fourth year. Here you go.
At this point, particularly for football and men's basketball, set it up in a pro manner, particularly for football, especially for football. Just make it the pro model and get it over with. The fans have accepted it. They haven't turned it off.
Well, Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, wanted to do it. He wanted to have 4 bids for the league and basically have the in-league playoff and the championship Saturday and go from there. But that meant a lot of resistance. Maybe it was too forward, thinking too quickly. Maybe you should circle back to it. Even a year later.
The cardigan-sweatered professor now, nobody gives a crap.
Right, but it was other conference commissioners who were shooting it down and other conference ADs.
Well, because they have to.
Because it's too much change too fast?
It is
freaking people out?
It is like politics with the 2 major parties. No matter what, I have to be against it. And the SEC has to be against whatever the Big Ten says, vice versa.
And it's an ESPN Fox money thing because he was going to backdoor a bigger playoff and it was going to have to go out to bid. And ESPN doesn't want to go out to bid. They want to hold on to it. They don't want to pay more for it.
I haven't watched ESPN since Linda Cohn retired.
Sure you have.
I have not.
You've turned on a random Major League Baseball game. You have to.
Random?
You watch too much. I don't know which one. It's probably really important to you, but it's random.
The Little League.
No, not the Little League World Series.
No, not the Little League World Series. The MLB Little League game, which was last night.
Williamsport game last night, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
It did the handshake thing. High five, the lines crossing like a Little League game.
Which I always hated.
I know. Those mic'd up coaches, they were just cussing kids out in July. But in August, they're mic'd up. Okay, Johnny, let's go.
Yeah,
Johnny, if you take another strike 3, so help me.
Yeah. Jesus doesn't care if you throw a strike. Yeah, but everybody else does. I mean, give me a break. I played on that Little League World Series field.
Yeah.
And I remember our second baseman, routine grounder.
Booted it?
No, he didn't boot it, but he lobbed a throw halfway up the first base line towards home plate. And our coach, right then and there, I remember it vividly, called him a ham and egger. Because he was a gagger. We didn't go all the way to Williamsport to lose.
To have you throw the ball up the line.
And it would have been today where they're like, oh, that's okay, Joey. The ball got away. You'll get the next one. I still love you. Jesus loves you. Your mom loves you. Yeah, BS. You're here to compete, man. And I rarely watch the Little League World Series because it's a show. That's not who they are. And you saw the guy in the high school told the kid, don't bring the guy to the ground. And he did, and he kicked the football and hit him right in the groin. Did you see that one?
I did not.
And they fired the coach. This is like last week.
Yeah.
The kid went down. Yeah.
Gone.
If you're not trying to win in T-ball, something's wrong.
Kyle Schwarber's trying to win. Walk-off home run caps the Phillies' comeback. 6th in the 9th to beat the Cards 6-4. He's got 39 home runs, tops in the major leagues.
The babe.
It'd take a big finish. The 50's doable. He'll probably finish at 45. It would take a big finish. And he's the only one who's going to get to 50. And he probably won't do it anyway. But
yeah, I got about 5 weeks to go. And then especially if they clinch a spot, whether it's the playoff or, the wild card or wherever. So don't know that he would play every game anyway.
Right.
You got to get ready for the postseason.
Well, they should clinch. They look great, don't they?
The Phillies?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're in. I think that
because they're in the second spot.
I think everything is set.
Cubs, Phillies, Padres,
Mm-hmm.
Diamondbacks out, Marlins, Cardinals. Sorry, not going to be you.
Right.
Just when the Cardinals gave you some hope, they went out and lost 3 in a row. They're back to 500.
Yeah. I think we've got those teams in the NL, and then we'll see how it plays out, order of finish and whatnot, and it doesn't really matter. You get in, you're expected to win. All these teams are big money teams.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3. You know anything can happen. So
and go get 2. Make sure you're the one that does what needs to be done. That's and I'll be watching.
American League, there's 1 spot left. The Yankees and Red Sox are in, or 2 with the AL West, I guess.
The West, yeah, the West.
The Guardians and Rangers are tied for the last wild card. And we've never had a Major League Baseball team in a full season get in with a losing record, but we might have a couple now. See if somebody can get hot in the AL West. Everybody in the AL West is under 500 right now. Astros let their GM go this morning. They're tied for first place, a game under 500, 65 and 66. And their GM's out. We're past the trade deadline. We don't need a GM. You're gone. We're going to start our search.
Well, you probably won't need a GM until 28 anyway. So
save it.
Save some money.
If the whole year's gone.
Right. To what degree does the lockout extend remains to be seen. But we do know there won't be any moves.
Mariners are 3 games back. They got beat 19-2 after losing 22-0. Bryce Miller started both those games. I guess I give him credit for standing up and answer the questions afterwards. That's got to be awful. Not that he gave up all the runs. Obviously, he didn't. But he got beat up pretty good in both those losses.
Understood.
Bees got wiped out by the thunderstorm. Played 4 innings, but not an official game. They're not going to reschedule it or finish it. That one's just going to go away. They're off today and back at it tomorrow. Anything else you want to tell the people?
Oh, absolutely. Caden Clark had 37 points and 10 assists.
So I just saw that's her 5th 30-10 game, and in WNBA history, there have only been 4 others. There have been 9, and she's got 5 of them.
Way to go.
Impressive.
Been watching her for 5 years.
And Ennis Cantor got himself thrown out of the game. Standing on the bench, standing on the baseline, standing up hollering, and they kicked him out and he waved at the crowd. Ennis making a scene.
I heard him being called Ennis.
Ennis.
Freedom.
When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Best thing that's ever happened to you financially. Go.
Easy. Sold my car on Carvana. Amazing offer.
Really? I hit 200 on a scratcher.
Did the scratcher come to your house and hand you a check?
No.
How many scratchers did you hit to get that? I hit a button on Carvana.com once.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the lottery, except you always win.
Not like the lottery at all, actually.
Exactly. Inexplicably good. Offers worth bragging about. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Woo! Oh, I was there. It's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join Scotty G and the coach from 10 to 2. Tim Daly Nissan Southtown this Wednesday, 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Got some more news breaking this morning. 49ers owner John Jed York was arrested over the weekend and found guilty of 2 misdemeanor charges. He pled no contest Monday morning to disorderly conduct and possessing criminal tools. He was arrested Sunday in East Palestine, Ohio, and posted $5,000 bond.
What is criminal tools?
That is the question that everyone is asking on social media, and I don't have an answer for you yet. There's some speculation that it was prostitution, and he recorded the encounter on a phone. But that is...
Oh, who hasn't done that?
That is not locked down reporting yet. I am waiting to hear more on what criminal tools might be, but the number of people who've asked that in response to Twitter is a note to self: do not bring criminal tools to Ohio.
I've heard of criminal fools, but not tools.
Criminal tools sounds like you brought a clipboard to a protest. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff here. And then Kyle Shanahan and Jed York running the Niners, and they've got they got the guys from Shawshank Redemption sitting in the prison yard.
Well, Shanahan, the traffic accident.
The collision there.
Nothing. Yeah, and you brought this up earlier. I just exchanged a text with Kurt Cragthorpe, his father Dave, who was a longtime football coach and administrator at Utah State, coach at BYU, passed yesterday at 93 years of age. He said, appreciate. I extended my condolences. It's amazing at our ages that his wife and him still had 4 living parents until yesterday. That is something.
That really is something. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah. And so Dave Cragthorpe making an impact.
We hear about, it's just a constant Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, dominating the championship subdivision. But back in 1981, Dave Cragthorpe coached Idaho State to the NCAA title at the old Division I AA. And given the lack of money and the lack of people, how did they do that? How did he win a national title there? But he did it. Pulled it off.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And we do know that Weber gets going Friday. He's Northern Colorado, coached by Ed Lamb. Elijah Tuiaki's on that staff, too.
A lot of names with local ties.
A couple of other BYU kids.
Squaring off. Eric Kerr makes the debut.
Excited. I want to watch that game. I hope it's on TV somewhere.
Probably streaming.
I'll stream it then.
Yeah.
No problem.
ESPN Plus has a lot of Big Sky stuff, so my guess is that's where it is. I haven't looked it up, but that's kind of my default go-to for the Big Sky. All right, reaction, our question of the morning. Keontae George, Jaren Jackson, Will Hardy, Ryan Smith going to see Lowry Markkanen. We know they're there from a photo. Maybe there's somebody else there, but at least that many guys there. Are they building something special? Abraham says they're looking like a certified play-in contender. 2 laughing, crying emojis.
I think they could be more than that, but I don't really know.
So if I click on this, is he going to be from L.A. and be a Laker fan? Because most of the time...
It was condescending?
That's how I took it.
Okay.
Because I think they're clearly a contender for 10th place. I mean, I think that's obvious. I think they're clearly a play-in team. Can they be better than that and raise the bar? To me, that's where the question is. Can they catch 5 teams in the West? Yes, I think clearly they can catch 5 teams in the West. So the question is, if you're 10 and you got to win two road games, your odds aren't good. If you're 7 and you just have to win one of the 2 home games, and your odds are better. And if you can find a way to 5 or 6, probably in a series you got a chance to win. So where do they fit in that scale? Somewhere between 10 and 5. I'd like to see that. And sure, I click on it, and he lives in L.A. He's from L.A. So, yes, that's a Laker fan. Mocking. Way to crop out the other dude, LOL, Colton says. So you didn't recognize him right away. Not you didn't crop out. I have no idea who he is. Yeah, you didn't crop out Ace Bailey or something.
Right.
Corey says Ryan's on his tippy toes, laughing, crying emoji. I'd probably do the same thing amongst those giants.
It's not about the pitcher. Who cares about the pitcher? It's about the fact that the guys went over to work out with Markkanen in anticipation of getting this thing going this season. I don't give a crap about the pitcher.
Julie, awesome. Alicia, I'm loving the representation of our Utah Jazz. Rosemary says fun seems to be the plan. Have fun. She's got a little have fun graphic.
Well, I'm of the Majerus school that
winning is fun.
Yes.
There's your fun.
Right. At that level,
yes.
At the pro level.
For those people, not for the fans in the stands, as we talked earlier this morning. Sitting in the 12th row, you have fun.
Right. This fun at this level is defined by winning. And there will be some sort of winning. We just don't know where it's going to fit into the scheme of things when we get to April. But I think it's going to be fun to find out.
Michael says he's a Utah transplant and a Jazz fan from day one. Who remembers him as the New Orleans Jazz? I think Ryan Smith's raised the status of the team to one the players will seriously consider playing in Utah. Prior to his ownership, I'm not so sure if Utah was high on the players list. Some him, but some of the town growing up and evolving. Like it's a time thing. And you just got to give it time.
I think it's the other way.
What's that?
That we have a sophistication of the player. That the player is not going to rule out
going anywhere
because of some perception.
Right.
The player, they travel around the world, or at least the U.S.,
but often the world.
And they know people who know. They may know them personally or what have you. And so I think that
and relationships.
We're seeing it with BYU. Look at the complexion of their team.
And relationships matter a lot. I mean, the money has to be ballpark. You know, if the money's way different, then people are going to take double the paycheck. Everybody does.
Well, that's why Boozer left Cleveland to come here.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Actually, you had a story earlier you should repeat. You told it an hour ago about relationships matter. You run into a Ute, and you tell the 6 Chargers who are with him the reason, and they're like, oh, they know relationships matter.
Yeah, my wife was there, and she was his teacher for 2 years.
It was Lander Barton.
And Lander Barton has, every time they've been together, he's paid her enormous respect. He clearly has respect for her as a teacher.
6th and 7th grade or 7th and 8th?
I think it's 6 and 7.
6 and 7, yeah. But way young.
But yeah, when he was a boy. And she would come home and tell me, this kid is an unbelievable athlete. Yeah. And she's taught guys who've played in the NFL. And she would say, every time they introduced that she taught PE, she would have him demonstrate because she knew he could handle it. And he was a respectful young man even then. And he shows his respect by hugging his teacher. And the kids the Charger players, I call them kids, but they looked at him, oh, that's not just some jabroni fan. That's somebody that clearly Lander has a lot of respect for.
Not some rando.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of time. Scotty G, the coach Tim Lacombe next right here on The Zone.
Okay, show's over.
Oh, gotta run.
So, this is goodbye then.
I think we should meet again.
See you soon.
I don't need the details. Bye.